Do we not have the turn-based one today?
I get it with my father. I was using them on every like segment because I don't have
I only find them to be about 5 for the year. No. I prefer, I like to have individual, which is, like, really bad, but same time, when I was working in New York, so it was like, the first, we're about, it was a month there, like 2 hours north of the city. It's near the Delta. It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, I guess.
I like working out.
Oh, hey, before we start committee reports and stuff, it's supposed to be something I have open, whatnot.
I'll get that to you during the break.
During the break?
Yeah, don't worry about it. There's a we'll take a break before we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we're here till 1 a.m. dude. Ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Secretary Shelver, will you please take the roll?
Senator Akmal.
Excused.
Senator Anderson.
Here.
Senator Brennan.
Here.
Senator Borgasani.
Here.
Senator Durnell.
Here.
Flanagan, or Senator Flanagan. Senator Fulton.
Here.
Senator Gluckert.
Unexcused.
Senator Hahn.
Here.
Senator Hurley.
Here.
Senator Jimmy.
Here.
Senator Johnston.
Here.
Senator Colondi. Sorry, I should have asked.
Excused.
Okay. Senator Kiefer.
Here.
Senator Nelson.
Here.
Senator Pfeiffer.
Here.
Senator Powell.
Here.
Senator Reen.
Here.
Senator Tarallo.
Present.
Senator Thompson.
Here.
Senator Wilmus.
Here.
Business Manager Parsons.
Yep.
Vice President Hanley.
Here.
President Belcher.
Here.
All right.
We will now move into the minutes of the preceding meeting. Give me 1 second. I got you two down, and I got Kiefer down. We pulled the minutes of the preceding meeting. All right, Senator Fulton.
Move to add myself to the people present.
Okay. So after Flanagan, yeah.
Come on. There we go.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Tarallo.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Next on my speakers list, I got Senator Flanagan.
Move to amend all instances of Flanagan after the attendance to be consistent with the spelling of Flanagan in attendance.
Second.
Unanimous.
Just wait. Just wait. Can you point to specific instances, or like, do you know?
There's
Generally,
one
off the top of
right
your
there in 3. I know it's in 4. So I mean, I don't know every place that I taught that the last meeting.
Okay, I'll call for a second now.
Second.
Seconded by Senator Fulton.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, the amendment is adopted. I'm going to give the secretary a brief amount of time to get that amendment up on the screen. Also, if you do have corrections to the minutes, you can email us before the meeting and then we can amend them. I would be ready to amend them. Okay, is that how you want your amendment to read?
Yes, please.
Okay. Next on my speakers list, I've got Senator Kiefer.
Can you scroll up back to the beginning? Motion to change the spelling of Kiefer in 3-1C to K-I-E-F-E-R.
Okay, wait. Okay, so before I call for a second, there's been a motion to change the spelling of Kiefer in the attendance to, oh, you mean right there, okay, sorry, to K-I-E-F-E-R. Is that what you want to read? Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Johnston, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Next, I got Pfeiffer.
Move to amend my name in roll call to reflect the spelling P-F-E-I.
There's been a motion to change the spelling of Pfeiffer in the attendance line to P-F-E-I-F-E-R. I'm gonna wait for a second on this one.
EIR?
P-I.
Yeah. Okay, is that how you want it to read?
Yes, please.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kiefer, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Is there anyone else that wants to get on my speakers list at this time? Anyone else? Last call for discussion of minutes of the meeting. All right, seeing none, I will now entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 30th meeting. Moved by Senator Turallo and seconded by Senator Flanagan.
Yes.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, the minutes have been approved. It was moved by Turallo and seconded by Flanagan. Cool. That means we'll now go into public comments. Just a reminder to senators, please no talking or eating or passing notes during this time. Please only drink water and please be attentive to our guests. Is there any public comment today? Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dylan Materno. For allowing me to come and speak today. Thank you. Great touch. I am with the Epic Human Student Group, which is the student arm of the Blackstone Launchpad. Just now, actually, the Blackstone Launchpad is having their Epic Ideas Showcase event, which is off to a booming success so far, and hope that some of you got the chance to see that before coming in tonight. I'm here to just give a brief, summary of what we've been up to, as well as just in the very near future what we have going on. So as I mentioned, Blackstone Launchpad, that Epic Ideas Showcase, where we have a variety of entrepreneurs coming in, students, faculty, alum, who are coming in to showcase their ideas, and we have some judges who have come in to vote on those, and we're to decide a winner for the evening. And just coming up with Epic Humans, it's a student group that believes in paving the path for young people to be passionate and innovative. So we foster an entrepreneurial environment that allows young individuals to build confidence and grow their ideas. And so we host a series of weekly events to achieve that. So just coming up this Friday, we have our Founder Friday event, which we have every other Friday. So we're going to be having Ben Ferenz, the founder of Fair Ends, as well as Dick Anderson, the founder of Dick Anderson Construction. Both of them are going to be coming in to talk to students about their personal experiences in their business. And then as well as that, next week on Wednesday, the 13th, we're from 4 to 5 p.m., we're going to have our Sustainable Design Workshop just in the Innovation Factory. This semester has been slow for us, the Epic Human Student Group, just getting things rolling, but We're hoping to keep giving you guys weekly updates and just on the Blackstone Launchpad in general. Appreciate your support wherever we can get it. Thank you so much.
And I do have a question for you if you're willing to take questions. Senator Flanagan.
Hi, thanks so much for coming. I was just wondering if you have, or if the Epic,
Humans.
yes, the Epic Humans or Blackstone Launchpad has any plans to work with student groups at all?
That's a great question, Senator. As the president-elect, my plan is to reach out to student groups that, depending on what event we're having, events that might be of specific interest to student groups. So we'll have a very targeted approach to that, but of course would also be just reaching out to every student group in general for any event.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Any more questions? Thank you very much, Dylan.
Thank you for coming in.
Is there any more public comment? Yep. Oh.
Hey y'all. I'm Kat, this is my box of bags. Notice that it's a ramen box. Please don't donate ramen to food pantry. I came to talk about canned cats. I know that, sorry, sending in. Vice President Hanley is going to talk about it again a little later. I'm just here to tell you that this is the first year the food pantry has gotten to participate. So we didn't know that until February. So this is the first time we've existed at the same time as canned cats. And I'm really excited. If you're not familiar, this is a big rivalry kind of food drive competition between us and Bozeman. And last year we raised, I think, a little over 402,000 pounds of food, which is amazing. That amount of food classes that we make from when it's collected all the way through almost August, which is amazing. And it brings a ton of variety to the food bank as well. So this year, we're also going to collect a lot of food. Any food collected after the kickoff, which is this Saturday, will count towards Cat Cats until the cat goes again. This cat. And also dollars count as well. So I wanted to come Senate and invite you all to get involved. So I'd like everybody to take a bag. They all have the information for Cat Cats on it. I think there's 30, so there should be enough for everybody plus a couple. Yeah, and we're also hosting a volunteer event next weekend at the Weaver State game. And I would love any help that I can get. It's a couple hour commitment before kickoff. So if you don't want to miss the game, you don't have to. But we'll need a lot of bodies to help us spread the word and collect food, and then a few to help me haul food all the way back up to you. Any questions?
Any questions for Kat? Any questions? Senator Johnson.
If we donate food to the food pantry after Saturday, is that the first canned cat?
Everything after Saturday the 9th counts towards canned cats. So these bags all say on them, start collecting food on the 9th. This is just when I like to take all the same room. So this also Senate food drive this summer. And then all food collected between the 9th and the 23rd is canned cat.
Any more questions for Kat? Last call. Thank you, Kat.
Well, I'll add one tiny last thing. Our biggest needs right now are protein sources. Peanut butter we're out of, canned chicken we're out of, tuna's great, and then fruit. Canned or dried fruit is awesome and almost never gets donated. Not cranberry sauce or green beans. We have a lot of green beans and do not need any green beans for the next 2 years. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, Kat. Is there any more public comment? Yes.
Microphone work or
Use project, yeah. That's mainly for our live stream. So.
my name is Kane Brownes. I'm the president of a club on campus called the Artist Collective. We have a special allocation going through this meeting today. The cover letter is pretty thorough. I just wanted to come by and invite you guys. We're hosting our 25th annual student jury art exhibition at the Gallery of Visual Arts and Social Science building next Thursday. One of the largest exhibitions of student art on campus. Seth Bodler comes by. Helps us. We love to have you guys there. Really trying to reach out to the community this year. Good luck this year. That's about it, the questions. I was curious.
Does anyone have any questions? Senator Wilmes.
So, you might give a bit of detail about the installation, what's maybe featured this year?
So usually we invite a juror to come in and select artworks of incredible quality to showcase in the exhibition that we have. Apart from that though, apart from that level of quality, it's really kind of hard to speak about. The artists that showcase are also different in both media and content. It's difficult. But, you know, you can expect it to be kind of weird. So really looking forward to that. That's, good to go.
Any more questions?
I guess I should add too that we give out hundreds of dollars to the students who can. We're doing the awards at 5:45. That's when we announce them. The Montana Museum of Art gives a speech about artworks that they have purchased for their permanent collection. SAP gives out the President's Award. The Artist Collective gives out ours that need to speak. But generally, it's a good insight into what the School of Visual and Performing Arts is doing and further understanding more about visual artists. That's it.
Any more questions? All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Any more public comment? Yes, Maddie.
Hi everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Maddie with the ASUM Sustainability Coordinator. Excuse me, and I wanted to come to Tokyo today and voice my support for a resolution that I think you're voting on today to make the sustainability fee mandatory. So as it currently stands, the sustainability fee is a $6 opt-out fee. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about the fee structure, what it funds, and why it's important that we vote, that you all vote to make it mandatory. So currently, the fee, as I said, is $6, and half of my position is funded with the revenue generated from that. And so after half of my wages have been pulled out, 70% of the remaining funds are put into the large grant fund. And so that money isn't touched until we hit $500,000. And when we hit $500,000, that's going to be available for large-scale projects across campus, which is super exciting to think about what we can do with sustainability on campus with $500,000. And as it currently stands, that large grant fund is at just under $363,000. So we're super close to $500,000, but we still have a ways to go. And so up to 70% of that fund has been put aside for the large grant fund. The rest is available for loans and grants. And this is all through the Class Revolving Energy Loan Fund, which is the fund on campus that supports primarily energy projects and energy savings and just sustainability projects in general. So some examples of projects that have been funded in the past, reusable, refillable water bottle stations, the solar panels on Lawson, the cargo bikes. So if you've ever had an event with dining, the electric cargo bikes that they might on maps across project. Yeah, so that it's basically, and also I think the other thing to note as well is sustainability this year seems to be, it's always important, but there's a ton of energy and momentum behind it this year. Eva Rock, who's the sustainability coordinator, was saying that she's never seen this much interest and engagement from students around sustainability initiatives. And I think given the current conversations about climate and just in general, this is a really fitting time to vote to make it.
I do have a couple people on my speakers list who are willing to take questions. So Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, I was wondering, well, first of all, thank you for coming. I was wondering if you could speak to a bit about the recruitment power for the sort of nature we have around sustainability, if that makes sense.
Can you?
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about how sustainability has been used as a recruitment tool. The support that we have for sustainability.
Can you repeat? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if you could talk for a bit on how sustainability can be used as a recruitment.
Okay, sorry. I understand. So I think yeah, that's a great question. So the students want to see sustainability, and there are a ton of majors related to the environment and related to sustainability, and people come to UM specifically for those majors. So when prospective students are looking around campus and they see sustainable projects, they can see really great signage on the cycle. they can see that there's composting, or that there's a reusable water bottle station. It shows that UM has a commitment to sustainability, and it shows that they're going to be supported in their academic efforts outside of the classroom. I can speak to more specifics.
I think that answered it very good.
Business Manager Parsons.
Thanks for coming tonight, Maddie. I was hoping you could tell us what percentage of the students who opt in the fee, what that is like currently or for this past year.
Yeah, so as of September 25th, the opt-out rate for this year was at 29.63%. And that is actually a slightly lower opt-out rate than usual, but it generally is around 30% of students who opt out of paying sustainability.
Thank you.
Senator Hahn.
Do you have any, have students told you why they opt out, what their reasoning is for that? Is there any data on that?
Yeah, that was a study, we pulled really specific data a few years ago. I don't think I've seen that, so it was before my position started. So I actually don't know why, but I do have the information and I'd be happy to send that to you.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right, thank you for coming, Maddie. Any more public comment? Any more public comment? Oh, go ahead, Morgan.
Hi, Senate. My name is Morgan. I am the UM Financial Education Program Social Media and Outreach Coordinator. And in the last few weeks, we've launched our Facebook page, Instagram page, as well as Twitter. Starting now, and those who already follow and anybody who follows between now and November 6th will be entered to win a pair of cross-country skis. So incentive is to follow us on all 3 social media platforms. That enters you essentially 3 times for the competition. We're going into winter, and now would be an excellent time to do that. And just real quick, if you're not familiar with the UM Financial Education Program, we are a unit within the Office of Student Success. We aid students with planning on budgets, as well as helping them to navigate FAFSA and student loans. So if any of you or any other students that you hear need our support, as well as alumni, be sure and come and look this up. I don't think any questions.
You got one, President Belcher.
Yeah, I just have a comment. So I normally try to follow as many university affiliated social media as I can, and I saw you in Financial Education Program, and I was very pleased to see that not only did they follow back, but they liked one of my photos. But now that I know that it's Oregon, that explains a little bit.
Sorry to disappoint you.
No, thank you. I love it.
Awesome.
Senator Torello.
Hey, Morgan, thanks for coming. Can you just tell us real quick what the Twitter handle is and usernames?
That's an excellent question, actually. Sorry, I should have shared that. It is UM Financial Ed. It's UMFINANCIALED. Awesome. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Actually, could you repeat that one more time?
Yes, UM Financial Ed.
Got it. Cool. Any more questions? Any more questions? All right. Thank you very much, Morgan. Is there any more public comment at this time? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. My name's Brian, for those of you that don't know me. But earlier this week, I was approached by a student who goes to West Campus, and their concern was a lack of food items offered for the students. So when they go to school, they usually start at 7 a.m. So they go from 7 to 12, and then from 2 to 5-ish, depending on what type of certificate or 2-year degree they're getting. And they get that hour break for lunch. Currently, the only options that they have out there are the two drink vending machines and then a snack vending machine. They have the option to leave campus for lunch, but because the campus is next to Big Sky, which is also right next to Reserve, after they get to like an Arby's or like a McDonald's or something, that takes them about 30 to 40 minutes, and they end up showing the class late, around 20 to 30 minutes late into their next class. So I was just going to bring this forward to the sense attention that the lack of food options for West Campus students are very minimal, and yeah.
Cool. And Brian, I do have one person, Senator Flanagan.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for coming. I had a question about
whether UM has ever been at West Campus, and if so, why have they done?
They were at West Campus. They used to bus out around 5:36 in the morning, but ever since their last student play that would drive out to West Campus to give them like their food options stopped going, they just decided to end that portion of like a student employee. So there's no longer any food, like dining offers food out there, so essentially grab or anything like that.
I do have a couple more, Senator Kiefer.
Yeah, hi, that's student employees. Sorry. So that's what I was gonna comment about. Typically, I know that someone in young concessions would go out to do that job. They have a student filling that job, maybe because they didn't want to get up early and go do it. So I don't really have a question. I would just like recommend talking to Adele or so in concessions.
Senator Hopper.
Yes.
President Belcher.
Have you approached anyone at dining about this yet?
I have not. This was actually brought to my attention around 4:35-ish last night, so I found it close to the moment today.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Cool, thank you very much, Brett. Is there any more public comment? Any more public comment? Last call for public comment. All right, seeing none, so on to public comment.
So begins the president's report. As usual, we have a special guest at the beginning. Please welcome Brad Hall, the Tribal Outreach Specialist.
Good evening. We don't have anything really profound to say, however, thank you for inviting me today. I'm 5 weeks on campus. You ever get used to this? So I come to U of M from Blackgate Community College, where I was administrator there. And here, right now, I'm situated in the office of the president, overseeing and looking at new ways to develop programs, academic pathways for Native American students in the University of Montana. Currently, we have about 559 Native American students on campus, roughly less than 5% of the entire student body. However, as an ethnic minority, we are the largest, and we, in many ways, also most underserved. To use an analogy, Native people throughout history, and as we enter institutions such as the University of Montana, have been the proverbial canary in the coal mine, so that if there are issues in institutional support for students, or students are not navigating through institutions the way that they are supposed to, I say supposed to, because we do have standards that sometimes are not attainable in higher education. Therefore, that canary in the coal mine means that we oftentimes come against the institutional barriers that ultimately become barriers for every student. And in that, I want to also thank President Belcher for reaching out to me and offering help and offering for the Senate's help in some of the efforts. And I'm also moving forward with the student groups that are Native American student groups on campus. We are going to be celebrating our 52nd annual powwow. And it's come to my direct attention that the ability for the student group to function and to fundraise for the event is quite limited. And so one of the items that we're going to be focusing on with the Senate and asking for your help and assistance in doing is looking at the institution from a perspective of not just being a ground where private contractors can make money, but also that it's a student-focused event where we make efforts for, as a university, for allowing students an easy way to fundraise for things such as trips and $60,000 annual events such as the powwow. One of the things that we're asked of the facilities is to have a 5-year contract with a fixed rate of $20,000 for use of the cabin center facility. The other thing that is really important about the powwow that's relatively underutilized by the institution, however, it's touted by the institution as a cultural event. What I mean by underutilized is that we rarely have any other organizations, groups, a part of that, including our very own admissions and other ways that we can help you onboard and promote recruitment of Native American students. And most of them, a very large number of them from all across the Pacific Northwest actually do attend this powwow. And that there are some things that, in order for us to host those powwows, draw different groups from around the country. One of the items that I'm bringing to PTIO is that in the spring semester, they will be coming with a request to help fund some of their operations for the powwow. They have not quite decided what that is going to be, but that's something to think back to your mind, to know that as long as PTIO has gone on as an organization, so has the powwow. And we want to maintain the utility around that for every year, and it being a cornerstone of cultural events here on campus. One of the things that you guys are probably very much aware of is the diversity initiatives on campus. It's as though diversity has always been an issue in higher education. In regards to Native American people, what research has shown us is that aside from being the group with the lowest number of college graduates in the country, we're also the most successful when we're supported in ways that we're able to proceed and navigate through institutions. And so one of my main goals is to help this institution build a customized and very much needed student support structure that is based on, it's research-based and based on past practice of Native American best practices in higher education. Aside from that, we're looking at doing expanding campus to the reservations in Montana. Every reservation in Montana has a tribal college, and they vary from four-year college like at SKC up in Pablo on the Flathead Nation, and they also have two-year programs predominantly among the tribal colleges. And so we're looking to build linkages between not only the University of Montana, but Missoula College, and of course, looking at working with two-year colleges as well and building remote sponsored programs of study. I'm from Browning, and it's about a 3-hour drive, and through Blackfeet Community College, we've instituted one of the first what they call 2+2 programs in social work. And what that does is it's a hybridized distance delivery program in which includes faculty share. It also includes faculty teaching in our communities and among our students, and our students also come to them here. Currently, those programs have over an 80% success rate in completion. And so it's not just about bringing students to campus, it's about bringing students into campus in ways that will allow them to also continue their lives back home and also get that college degree for those who I'm a second generation college student. My father was relocated in 1971 to Salinas, California, where he was attended Hartnell College and received an associate's degree in agriculture. Most people don't realize that the history up until about 45 years ago was about erasing us as people, assimilating our cultures, so that we became something that we never will become, which is the dominant population. And it is very apparent to me that a lot of practices in higher education have perpetuated those same institutional digressions. In which many of our students, in many ways, as you probably have seen some of the diverse youth presentations that happened on campus, have been really impacted by major events such as the missing and murdered Indigenous women that have really not just made waves nationally, but has really hurt our communities in ways that we are really trying to prepare and fix. And we need people to come through institutions like U of M to run effective law and order organizations so that we can make sure that our people are safe in our homelands. We also need people who can help meet the mental health needs of people who are suffering from those debilitating events or healthcare professionals that are really going to be instrumental in helping us to address health disparities that our communities are disproportionately affected with. And so all of these things lead to why people come to higher education. And when the first day that I came here, President Bodner told me that we're a UN family. And I agree, I really do feel that sense here. And that that is something that Native people really draw themselves to when they come to institutions, is to be in a place where we can feel like we are family, and that people wrap around the supports that we need to be successful. Being in the position that I am in, it is the first of its kind in this institution, and it's likely that it's going to be transformative for this institution. This means that we engage with the students, making most efforts to be a part of student organizations, attend their meetings, be part of their functions, get to know them as the community that they are. When I first got here, they told me your office is going to be in Main Hall. And I said, I don't want that to happen. And they're like, well, why don't you want this closet in Main Hall? That's all there is over there. It's because I can advocate for a community I'm not part of. So that's why I'm in page 209, just up the stairs. And right now, I'm focusing a lot on campus, because if they want me to do the level of outreach that they're intending for me to do, we have to be prepared on this campus to accept the level of students and the supports that we're So with that being said, I appreciate your time. I can answer any questions you guys have regarding the position, future goals, planning, things that we're working on right now.
Any questions or comments, Senator Han?
Thank you for coming and speaking today. Of the 559 students, do you know how many are graduate students versus undergraduate students?
I believe, this is paraphrasing, I can get you the exact number, but I think it is roughly about 25% graduate students.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I can give you the top 3 majors, business, social work, and psychology. The social work program probably has an uptick because of its 2+2 program. At distance, and I believe it's now reached 4 tribal colleges and 2 state colleges.
Senator Jimmy?
This was me, right? I'm interested to know how much is your work has to do with graduate students and with undergraduate students.
Wow. Well, they are a focus. They really are. I've been in a lot of conversations with Ashley Finch about building. They've done a really good job at providing the Sloan scholarships, the other pieces that have allowed a lot of Native people to not only navigate through the graduate programs, but also integrate their own tribal ways of knowing into the research that we're conducting, because we're finding that research being conducted in ways that are typical Western methodology really are not effective in getting the information to our communities, forming the solutions around where we want those questions to be answered for. And they're also not building the capacity for us to be responsible researchers or even professionals within our communities. So it's all about context, and it's about being able to give students the tools they need to really help solve problems that many of them are going back to their communities most of the week. And in that, we as an institution have a really good opportunity to capture that. That means that the way that we teach in graduate programs will have to change. The way that we assign students research topics will have to change, because the students should be in the research that they're investigating. So there's a lot of little innovative pieces that we're talking about in research cohorts that could be cross-institutional in the same amount of time, where Native people from the same tribe working on similar issues can actually pull their research projects together, from policy to on-the-ground work, where they're actually making impacts and changing laws, ordinances, and other pieces on their tribal lands. One example is we have a very strong relationship between forestry and conservation. In Salish Community College, we have a cohort of about 5 students from Salish Community over now in the master's program. And two of them are from Black Nation, where I'm from, and they're doing research on bison, one focusing on policy, the other one focusing on impact on vegetation for bison. So those are what I'm talking about. We, Native people learn better together, and cohort models, as so shown with the people C programming, have really been effective in helping to retain and keep a lot of these professionals, not only in the classrooms, getting the degrees, but also extend economy into their being working people as well.
Senator Fulton?
Hi, thank you for coming up. I was wondering with like the UMT program, I was wondering if you were also reaching out to like, the Pro, the Fortnite, and like the Rocky going into reservations as well, and those parties out there.
One thing that we've noticed is that the outreach has to be different for every community. And some have latched on to there's people that have latched on to the 2+2 concept in social work. We just announced before my arrival here that the anthropology program is doing a 2+2 program with Stone College on the Rocky Boy Reservation. And building on these programs also is expanding access to other tribes, which is really a profound movement in the right direction. For example, a lot of the people that are in these programs are actually working professionals. They just don't have degrees or the credentials to do a lot of the work that they're charged with. And so as we get these 2+2 programs off the ground, getting bachelor's degree individuals in our communities, the next step then becomes, well, a lot of them need to be certified at a higher level. So the graduate programs are an easy fit to do that. And matriculating to those has been easy in some cases, mostly easy in the STEM because there's a lot of scholarship money connected to STEM fields. When we talk about social work itself and then we get into more health sciences, it can be pretty varied, especially in anthropology where there's really no money for a lot of students to go forward. But the colleges are supporting that, and the anthropology, a lot of these programs will also complement what they're actually teaching at the tribal colleges, so there's not a lot. There is a lot of relevance once they figure on campus or they get the delivery to their institution.
Follow-up?
Yep.
Have you tried reaching out to those colleges, like the colleges and the Pro reservations and the Fortnite reservations as well?
So the tribal college presidents will be here tomorrow and Friday. President Wagner this is his second meeting with tribal college presidents. One of those, the last meeting was one of the results from the last meeting was the definition around my position. And so he's really intent on moving forward with that. And all but one will be attending. Unfortunately, David Bono from Fortnite is in the hospital, so she will not be attending. But there is that presence. And so what I told President Wagner is that if you want expert opinions, if you want people to really give it to you in ways that are tangible to supporting the students, you need to get back to the tribal college presidents because they tend to do a little bit better than everybody else. In fact, our retention and other rates are pretty comparable to the state institutions. Thank you.
Senator Anderson?
Hi, thank you so much for coming. So I have a question. I know that you're doing the outreach with virtual colleges, but then you also look at outreaching to what types of skills have members, so like the middle child, for example?
Well, that's a really good question. Right now, I have not, but tribal government is another thing. It seems as though I have to start somewhere. So the tribal colleges are a natural fit. But the other component of this is the tribal high schools or tribal schools. And so wherever in the tribal college, there's tribally served high schools. So before I was even on full time, I attended a delegation from the University of Montana to Provost Harbor at SKC and Rocky Community College, where it's not just about recruitment, it's about engaging in the institution, it's within faculty, the table, it's talking about high need areas such as financial aid, which is ultimately not just high need, but very complicated for our Native students. And a lot of times, the people in our financial aid office lack the skills to really navigate what Native American financial aid is like. Whereas the tribal colleges have connected it to the point where they understand the nuance and how that happens. One example is that we have 7 different reservations. We also have 7 different tribal higher education programs that provide scholarship funding for students. They all have different deadlines, they all have different, so it's navigating the systems as they are and not us as an institution coming in and saying, this is what you need to do. So a lot of times that the respect in that area has not been extended to the tribe, rather they just accepted us the way we are, and that is the way that it should be, because those are the systems that we need to navigate, not need to work against.
Great. Any more questions or comments for Brad? Right. Thank you so much for coming. And I just want to say that Brad has been such a big help. No.
Okay.
Such a big help with the emergency grants program and offering a really good perspective on how that would work for Native American students and low-income students in general. And so I guess I'm going to volunteer you. He's a great person to ask questions.
Anything. I have an email. I have an office. It's kind of an office and a desk. In fact, I had a bookshelf picked out in facilities and some. So it's coming along. But definitely, I also invite you guys to attend any of the events and make sure that you guys are on the serves. And if you have special listservs that you guys are subscribing to, please let me know. My email is bradford.hall@minnesota.ump.edu. I didn't want to be Brad One Hall, so I used my elongated name I hate, and I go by Brad.
So there's a really unlucky housing employee named Brad Hall that has gotten a lot of inquiries about Native American students.
And I got an email to him about bed bugs. When I looked at the picture, it wasn't a bed bug.
Oh, Senator Toronto?
No, I was gonna ask what bug it was.
You know, I don't know what they're called, but you know, I see them at home all the time. They kind of have a little brown tinge to the pumpkin. I appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much.
All right, and we were supposed to have a guest from Toastmasters, but I don't see Sam back there, so I guess we'll just back burner that one. I'll get into my committee reports. I have quite a few this week. So unit standards met on Friday as usual. We went over the standards for journalism. This is a committee that can have 2 students on it. Right now I'm the only student. I won't be taking requests for this semester because there's only a couple of meetings left, but please keep that on your radar for next semester. I'll either be looking for 1 additional person or 2 new people for one of them to replace me on that committee. It sounds really dry, but it's really good policy work. And if you're interested in learning about shared governance and the faculty's relationship with the provost and how tenure works, that's a great committee to be on. Does anyone have any questions about unit standards? Great. Today I attended the Campus Wellness Coalition meeting. It was pretty interesting and we talked about a variety of topics. The first of those was the vape drive, which was pretty successful. I learned that they collected over 50 vapes from students. So that's pretty cool. We also talked about the faculty toolkit, and I wasn't able to get a copy because I only brought one to the meeting, but it's on the website, and I highly suggest y'all take a look at that. It's really good, and it has a lot of interesting information about how courses can be designed to improve student wellness. And one thing that I suggested in that meeting was educating students about the contents of that toolkit so that as they're entering their classes, they know what kind of expectations to have out of their faculty. So that was just something that I suggested. And then we also, I forgot what they're called, but Curry Health Center, I wanted to announce to you all, has this thing where you can go. I think they just call it the wellness toolkit, but I might be wrong, but it's a box that they'll give you that has a lot of really cool freebies in it for wellness. I'm sorry, am I missing something? Okay, I was like, did I say something incorrect? Mm-hmm. Okay, so they'll give this thing, it's really cool. I want to let you all know. Okay, it's this box. They'll give it to you, and it has a lot of things in it that will help improve your wellness. Like like an eye mask, earplugs, essential oils, like a stress bear, and then this other like stress tool. And it's really neat. And when you go get it, they'll do a little consultation to you about your wellness. So that could be a cool opportunity. Senator Fulton.
Yes.
Okay, Senator Durnell.
I wanted to say the wellness kit is like really cool. People here should take advantage of it. And just here as a comment, it's really cool. I mean, how much carbon-free essential oils that curry. And I didn't know any of this until I came to the music conversation. A huge tub of stress berries. And now there's just flooding the music building that you just pick one up and squeeze it whenever you're injured, throw it or something on it or whatever. It's really cool.
Sweet. Senator Wilmes.
I just wanted to make sure that I understood correctly. So it was like a sleep mask, right?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason in my mind, I was thinking like it was an Apple product of some kind. Of like, wait, what would it be? What would it be? Oh yeah, okay, it's probably that. But I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So y'all should go to the Wellness Center in Curry and pick one up. The next thing that I wanted to mention to y'all, so IT Senate, I had a really good meeting with Renee Scott on Monday. She is the CIO for the university and she is reconvening IT Senate. This is a committee that is meant to prioritize the various technology projects on campus. She showed me a spreadsheet of all of them and there are hundreds. There are so many outstanding technology projects. And so this would be a really great way to advocate on behalf of students because in the student survey that we did, the 5th priority in both deferred maintenance and student success was technology. So that it is a need that students are expressing. And I think the student voice in that will be really important. They're looking for 2 students. So if you're interested on serving on IT Senate, please email either me or Vice President Hanley and we can hook you up. Any questions about IT Senate? Great. So I have an update on the search for the UM Online Marketing Coordinator. Unfortunately, our finalist, Ashley, accepted another position, so we'll be bringing in yet another candidate. Her name is Brianna Niekamp. I don't know how to say her last name, but she will be on campus on Friday to meet with various stakeholders, and so hopefully we end up hiring her. That would be very cool. I also have an update about the distance learning committee. So I learned early this week that the MSA is finally done. And I am so excited to review it, as I'm sure the other members of the distance learning committee also are. And it will be convening next Monday at 12:30, and we will go over the MSA. So more to go on that. Any questions about my committee reports or committees in general? Great. Next up, we have online public comment. There was no online public comment this week. I guess all I have to say about that is if you hear complaints from students, let them know. They can put it in public comment. Moving into my other, I have a few things. So we had the info session about the symbol on Corbin Hall today. Thank you to Senators Hahn and Kiefer for attending that. It was very interesting. Lacey Zinke asked me to let you know about an opportunity called the Montana New Leadership Program. I've never been able to participate in it, but basically what happens is you get sponsored. I think that's somewhere in the range of $200 to $300, but you're supposed to get a sponsor for you. And then you can go to Helena in June and interact with other women in leadership across the state. A lot of those people are legislators. It's a great opportunity. So if you're interested in that, let me know and I'll link you up with Lacey. And then the last announcement I have is that at 3 o'clock on Friday, I will be participating in a panel at the Innovation Factory about innovation. Does anyone have any questions about anything in my other? Senator Wilmes.
Okay, so what kind of innovation discussion is going to be going on? That's a pretty broad term.
You know, I was told that all I had to do was be prepared to explain how I am innovative in my job. So, general questions about innovation. So if you want to see me put on the spot to answer those, please come watch on Friday at 3 o'clock. Any other questions? All right, so ends the president's report.
And so begins the vice president's report. If you could pull up the committee assignments, should be on the browser. There we go. Yeah, so it's not really a ton of changes this week. But yeah, if you just want to go up to the very top and then we scroll all the way down. Yeah, nothing really much, but if you want to get on my speakers list to add something or to remove something, I'm taking the speakers list. Senator Fulton.
Can you go down to sustainability?
Do I forget?
I don't know. I'm just checking.
Is SPA sustainability?
No. It should spell out sustainability. Yeah.
Motion to remove myself from vice chairship.
Okay. So you don't have to record that on the spreadsheet since you can't just record in the minutes. So there's been a motion to remove Brian Fulton from vice chair on sustainability. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kiefer.
Yeah.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection?
Objection.
Objection's been called, but no discussion. Any more discussion or objection? Okay. Discussion's been called by Senator Flanagan. Senator Fulton, you're off. Senator Fulton, you're off.
Yeah, so currently I serve on 14 committees, and this is the committee that honestly I spend the less time working on, and I feel like there should be a better vice chair out there.
Senator Flanagan. Okay. We'll now take a vote on whether to approve removing Brian Fulton as vice chair of the Sustainability Board. All those in favor, please signify by raising your placards. You don't have to do this. Please raise them high and steady. All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it passes 15-3-2. Brian Fulton's been removed as vice chair of the Sustainability Board. Is there any more discussion on committee assignments? Senator Anderson.
Can you please spell the J out?
Yes. Give us 1 second. It should be near the bottom.
No, near the bottom?
Yeah. Right there. Yeah. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. So can I move him in the meeting time in this portion of the year?
That doesn't have to be a motion. You can just do that whenever.
Okay.
Yeah. Any more discussion? Any more discussion for committees? Can you go to sheet 2 as well? Sorry. I think there's just a few for university committees.
Hit refresh.
Yeah, try it.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. We'll get this going. I believe, just if I can remember correctly, the additions were for Senator Jimmy to be appointed to the University Conduct Board, the Academic Conduct Board as the graduate student representative, as well as a student representative on the Diversity Advisory Council. And I believe that those were the only changes. I'm not sure why this is not living. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm just gonna check that out.
I haven't motioned for that. Okay. Is everyone fine? Okay. I'll now entertain a motion to approve committee assignments.
So moved.
Moved by Senator Turallo and second by Senator Fulton.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, committee assignments have been approved. It was moved by Turallo and seconded by Fulton. Cool. Next on my agenda is the November Board of Regents. So if you signed up to go to the November Board of Regents, you should have been placed in a group chat with myself and the rest of the attendees. We will be leaving at noon on Wednesday. Decorum, Senator Johnson. We'll be leaving at noon on Wednesday to go to Board of Regents and to make it in time for the mass meeting Wednesday at 5. And we'll then also be in attendance for BOR for Thursday and Friday. Friday it should end around noon, which is the typical time for Board of Regents to end. And then we'll also, if you made your own separate arrangements, you'll stay overnight Friday to go to the CAT Grizz game on Saturday. I'm still looking for an answer from the ASMSU president to see how many tickets we get. So as soon as I know, I will update the attendees for BOR. Is there any questions for me regarding the November BOR? Cool. Seeing none, we'll next go to Can the Cat. So as you saw in public comment, Cat gave out bags to all the senators to collect food, and that will start on Saturday. And she has asked me to make a competition between all the senators. So if you, as a senator, collect the most amount of food, you will receive a prize from me that is yet to be determined. I still don't know what I'm getting as a prize yet, but there is incentives for winning. It'll be a surprise. I will announce it by Saturday. And yeah, please collect food and please turn it into the food pantry. It's a really great competition. We lost to the Cats last year, so let's beat them. We didn't?
No, we won. It was the
Okay,
first year.
well, let's just beat the Cats next year. How about that? Any questions for me regarding that? Cool. Seeing none, next on my agenda or my report is check-in meetings. So if you have not yet received an email from me, please reach out to me, as I really hope I made an effort to email everyone for a check-in meeting. Again, just another reminder to schedule a check-in meeting with me. This can be done during my office hours. My office hours are actually full for this week. If you have a check-in meeting scheduled with me for my office hour, we're still good, but I can't add any more check-in meetings for my office hours this week. So I'll probably have to wait till next week. So yeah, also if you already did your committee check-in with me, you're good because I already did your senator check-in, and so you should be fine. Any questions for me? Also, if you just want to meet with me to talk about Senate, that is also an acceptable use of my office hours and also part of my job. So any questions for me regarding that? All right, seeing none, we'll go on to committee reports. So I just have two this week. ASCRC met last Tuesday and we approved curriculum updates for biomedical sciences or biomed, humanities, and social sciences. Yeah, it was a 2-hour meeting, so I don't remember entirely what happened since it was really long. We also had the guests from the Innovation Factory come, as well as Provost Harbour, to discuss the innovation certificate. They fielded questions for about 40 minutes relating to the financial feasibility of it, of the program, as well as kind of how it's going to be certified and whatnot, and as well as with the accreditation. I don't know when we will be voting on that next, but I will keep you all in the loop. And then additionally, we're supposed to look at the writing flowchart requirement, as I mentioned to you all last week, but since the meeting ran long, we didn't get time to do it. I will make an effort actually this week to send out the flowchart for you all to look at. It should be pretty simple to look at. It's just basically like when you come to the university, what writing requirements have you satisfied, as well as how do you satisfy your other writing requirements in these special, unique circumstances. But yeah, I will send that in the group chat tomorrow or send it as an email. Any questions for me regarding my ASCRC report? Cool. Next, the Mansfield Center search is checking right along. We have conducted half of the interviews so far. We will conduct the rest of the interviews tomorrow, and we will also, I assume, be picking our finalists for campus visits. So it is moving extremely fast. I'm not sure the time frame of when those candidates will be brought to campus, but we will keep you all in the loop about that. Senator Hahn, would you like to add on anything about that?
They're hoping by the end of November to have those on campus.
Any questions for me or Senator Hahn right now? Great. That moves me into my other. So the first thing I have is just kind of a related thing about senator accountability. So I know this was brought up a little bit today, but I just want to make a general comment. If you want to do something like reach out to a person, write a resolution, go to an event, or like are specifically enthused about that, please do it. Like, please go to those events. If there are time conflicts and you have class, that's fine. But if you want to do something, please do it. If you can't do something, please don't volunteer to do it, because it's frustrating on our ends to set up things for you all to go to, or set up things that we can meet with you to discuss things, and then those things don't happen. It's hard for us to see our time being wasted on stuff that isn't necessarily followed through by people. So please be cognizant of that. And if you want to do something, follow through. Okay? Any questions for me on that? Cool. The next thing are just two general comments about Senate meetings. The first, I forgot to mention this to you all earlier this year, so I don't blame you, Senator Hahn and Senator Fulton, but when you go up for public comment, just remove your name tag. Just a little thing. And also, just as a reminder, you're speaking as yourself, which everyone on this body that's done it this year has been really good about it. So props to you all, but just be aware to take your name tag off and only speak as yourself. And then the last thing, knocking if you could keep your knocking quiet this meeting so that the mics can pick it up on the live stream and that people can hear.
Decorum.
That would be great. Any questions for me regarding that? Yeah, go ahead.
General question. I've heard a lot of talk about this ASUM Thanksgiving dinner, but I don't really know a lot about it. I was wondering if y'all could talk a bit about that.
President Belcher.
Yeah, so there will be a request seen in Board on Budget and Finance this week to fund half of the event. This is a project that the Food Pantry Oversight Board has been working on all semester, planning the logistics, menu, and whatnot to have a Thanksgiving dinner for students who are unable to return home for the holidays for financial reasons or practical reasons, like international students or students who have families and might not be able to afford to do a Thanksgiving dinner. It's really open to anyone. And so this is something that Kat and the Oversight Board have been working on, but a big issue with it was funding, because the catering is going to cost a little bit under $4,000 if it is as highly attended as we anticipate. So that was not something that ASUM could fully fund. However, we were able to get a commitment from some other offices in Main Hall to fund half of it. And so we felt that that was a more reasonable amount. Overall, I think it's going to be a really cool event, and I'm happy to answer any questions about it.
I have a follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be out of STIP or special allocation? STIP.
Cool. Anything else for me? Just generally anything else for me? The last call. All right, seeing none, so ends the Vice President's report.
So it begins the BM's report. So as you'll see, there's not many changes to any of the fund balance this week. The only thing we'll be seeing is a request from the Artist Collective. But I did want to start with a discussion on a possible ASUM fee increase. So what I handed out to you at the beginning of the meeting are the fees from 2017-2018. The reason that this is an old fee system is because it includes a breakdown of what our fee is. So you'll see the $6 for the Kaiman, $6 recycling, $7 for radio, and so on. But our fee has not changed in over 4 years. But if you look at this, you can actually see that most of these fees have gone up in previous years while ours has remained the same. So I guess the reason I kind of want to pursue an ASUM fee increase this year would be just because of some of the stuff that's gone on with childcare this year. I know that in the coming years, childcare will make up a larger portion of our budget. So, and that's just due to a few different things. So the asbestos-related incident, we're still cleaning up with that and buying new equipment. Student wages have also gone up. The legislature has passed 2 wage increases, which is good for students. We're getting paid more, but we need to account for inflation with that. And another thing I want to do with increasing our ASUM fees to make it a little more equitable, because as of right now, we do turn away students who aren't reaching the 7 credit threshold. And I would just want to make it so that everyone could participate within our system. So I'm also looking into getting rid of the opt system for our fee and making it more a sliding scale based on credits. As of right now, we're the only fee left that has an opt-in system for 6 credits. As you'll see, Campus Rec used to be opt-in up to 7. Now that is mandatory for all students. So this would be following more of a trajectory in which fees have been increasing across campus. That's just because I want to maintain our level of service and make it so our student groups don't feel a pinch during the budget. Because historically in the past, we've always made sure to fund our agencies, or we've prioritized funding for our agencies, and student groups have historically gotten what has been left over. If we don't pursue a fee increase this year, it might be that childcare will make up a larger portion of the budget, and that just means less funding for student groups as well. Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, if the fee were to be prorated with like the credits like you were talking about, would that mean that if say a 1 credit student opts into the fee and pays that prorated fee, would they have the access to the benefits that ASUM offers?
Mm-hmm. So ideally, if we did have somewhat of a sliding scale system, I would make it so every student still has equal access to all of the services we have. I know different agencies we have currently, like transportation, they have no way of tracking who's on their ridership. So basically everyone can partake within those services. So I think it would just be easier on that end to make sure everyone can have full access to it, even if they're not going to school the same amount of time as someone else. Senator Durnell.
Would the sliding scale be based off of just part-time or full-time enrollment, or would it actually be based off of the exact number of credits?
It would just be based off of the credits. So yeah,
I have a follow-up.
of course.
I'm not sure in what ways the number what credits outside of being a full-time student or a part-time student affects the kind of services they have for ASUM. I'm not sure if there's a correlation. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so currently, if students aren't paying the ASUM activity fee, we have not been allowing them to participate within student groups until they've opted into the fee. If you look at a lot of our governing documents, it says you're not a member of ASUM unless you have paid the fee. So that's been an interpretation on our end. That's been an interpretation for a while now. I know some memberships can be waived with the 85-15 split. And we have done that, I believe, for one group this year. But yeah, so as for our agencies, I know legal in the past didn't used to do it. I think they're doing it now, or they're trying to hold it to that. Childcare, same thing. I believe there is a credit point of information.
So if you don't pay the insurance, you get put in the same level as a community member, or you should get basically the childcare because there's no way to get into the classrooms.
So I guess it varies by agency and it varies with student groups, but part of the reason why I would want to pursue something like this is just so that everyone could have access to it. If you're a student all on this campus, you could come in and you wouldn't have to worry about, well, am I meeting an arbitrary credit threshold or can I just access this service? So that's one of the justifications for it. Senator Fulton?
Yeah, so with the credit limit, words are hard. So when they reach 7 credits, would the fee just be a flat rate, or would it like be like, oh, you have 7 credits, you get a portion, like you get a portion of the fee, but once you reach 12 credits, that's a flat rate, or how does that work?
Yeah, so originally what I kind of have intended, this is just very general discussion about the ASUM fee increase. If anyone has any other ideas, they can propose it during this time as well. What I had in mind is that once you reach the 7 credits, it will still be capped at what it currently is. However, if you're taking 6 credits, it'd be closer to a $60 figure, 5 credits, 50, 40, and that's sort of the sliding scale, proportional based on how many credits you're taking. That's similar to some of the other fees on here. If you look at like technology, equipment, facilities, that is a trend on campus. And I just want it to be so that our fee would match up more with what's happening on campus, just so we can also increase revenue and provide services to everyone. I have Senator Durnell again. Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, roughly how often would you say that a non-fee paying student signs up for a student group in terms of like at least the signatures or otherwise?
So for this year, we've only had one student opt into paying the fee for one of the new student groups. It is hard because, and that's another part of this that's really hard. It's hard for us on the ASUM to track the credit load of each student because it causes us to rely on the registrar's office to check 790, see where students are at. If we were to have this sliding scale implemented, I think then it just, are you a student? Then it would just get rid of a lot of administrative work as well. So that's kind of another justification for it. All right, any more discussion? So I'm going to get kind of back. Oh, Senator Wilmus. Yeah.
So if you were to put in a sliding scale, what would you say the increases would be for the overall revenue generation for us?
Yeah, so I think this past year, approximately 5,000 students paid the ASUM fee. So it'd be about 3,000 students, and then depending on how many credits they historically take, that would increase as well. So I don't have like an actual projection, but I know, yeah, about 3/8 of campus currently doesn't pay this fee. So it's, yeah, similar to sustainability-ish. I think math checks out. All right. So, and with this as well, part of the reason why I do want to push for a fee increase this year is because we haven't pushed for a fee increase for a long time, even though we're based on fee dollars as well. So that means declining enrollment leads to less money for us. Part of the reason why I've been okay the last few years is because we've been relying on our reserve funds that we got from Productions folding. So we've been tapping into that for the past few years, and now those reserves are starting to dry up, and it's not going to be very sustainable much longer, especially with increases in wages and increases in childcare costs as well. So I think now just might be a good time to move forward on it. I think a sliding scale system would be more equitable. It'd be easier for us to implement administratively. And then really just accounting for inflation for the wages is a huge one because a lot of our fee dollars do go towards student services of which we require labor. Senator Flanagan.
Do we have any sort of time frame on this project? I know that's very general, but it seems like there's a lot we want to do and not a lot of time to accomplish it.
Yes, so ideally, we would have, once this body we can have discussion about it, we can talk more about what this ASUM fee would look like, what we would kind of want that increase to be. But ideally, we could have this figured out by the end of November, so by the end of this semester, so that we could bring it forward to Board of Regents within the March meeting, I believe. And then it would be seen at the May meeting if it follows the trajectory correctly. We have to rely on a few other university players to make this happen as well. But this would ideally take the form of a resolution towards the end of this month.
Sounds good, thank you.
Is there any more discussion on ASUM fee? All right, seeing none. So I'll probably be adding this to my agenda every week of this month up until I do write that resolution, just for everyone to be kind of thinking about what they would want a potential fee increase to look like. Right now, I'm looking more at putting in that sliding scale and prorating it, making it so it'd be somewhat to a $3 to $5 increase. However, if there are more areas within the agencies and if the respective oversight boards would like to talk to their agencies about additional need, or that could also inform our decision moving forward and how much we would want to propose fee increase as well. All right. So now we'll move into the financial request for the night. This is the request from the Artist Collective. Kane came in and spoke on it earlier. This is $350 for their event in the Arts Building. So I'll now defer to the Board on Budget and Finance for an authorship. Senator Johnson.
Yeah, pretty small request, pretty straightforward. I highly recommend just vote yes on it.
Is there any more discussion? Oh, Senator Johnson.
Move to approve.
It's been a motion to approve this financial request in the full amount of $350 by Johnson, seconded by Fulton. Unanimous consent was called. Do I have any more discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, it is so approved. All right. So for committee reports, I do have a couple. The Research and Creative Scholarship Fund will be meeting tomorrow. We're going to be having a preliminary meeting in which we update the metrics or review the metrics for students requesting funds. So just for some clarification, RCSF is for research purposes, academic travel purposes, and creative scholarship purposes. Creative scholarship is basically a catch-all, so it's anything under the sky. So the board will have a fun time kind of trying to find a way to equitably fund the research projects that we have come forward. And again, that'll be tomorrow. This is open to the entire student body. We're getting some infographics together for marketing to try and get some more student input. Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, is the committee seeing an influx of requests due to both UMCR and NCR coming up?
Yep, so we haven't received everything yet. University of Montana students are notoriously late on getting stuff in. So once it becomes December 3rd, I'm sure we'll get a few more applications. So far, we do already have more applications than last year, and I do believe it is because NCR will be hosted in Bozeman this year. So I think that's a good problem to have, honestly. I think more students applying for funds is probably better than less. Senator Anderson. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Could you just talk to the Senate about NCR and kind of its importance and why it's kind of cool that we're having NCR in such close proximity to
Yes.
the university?
So I believe NCR's in April, correct?
Yes.
I might just defer to you on this one because I'm not very well versed on it.
I'm not, I kind of just know this because I've been doing marketing for it. NCR is the National Conference on Undergraduate Research, and it's actually a really big conference, if I understand it correctly. And for it to be so close to the University of Montana gives the undergraduates here a great opportunity to get their research out there in a way that they wouldn't usually get. We do have UMCR, which we get every March. I'm not sure exactly when UMCR is, which is also a great opportunity. But NCR is good for undergraduates to take the research to a higher scale. Usually NCR is, well, it's all around the country. This is the first time it's been in such close proximity to us. I don't know if I said this, but it's going to be in Bozeman, which is only 3 hours away from us. So it's a great opportunity for University of Montana students to jump at something that they wouldn't otherwise get as often.
Senator Anderson?
What time is that meeting tomorrow?
Yeah, so it'll be 12 o'clock in the ASUM conference room. You're all welcome to attend. It might be a little bit cramped in there. It's a pretty big committee, but we'll make room. Also, so this week, is there any more questions about RCSF? Okay. So radio board also met this week. We met on Monday. Senator Hurley, that was his first meeting there. So congratulations. That was super fun. We talked about some underwriting with KBGA and some issues, I guess, they're having with Logjam and trying to figure out some more of their advertisement sponsors. That was basically the crux of the meeting. The minutes are there if you want to read them over. They're kind of entertaining. Do you have any questions about radio board? All right, seeing none. My last committee report is the UBC, so that's the University Budget Committee. We have a subcommittee in which we've been reviewing different budget models. So currently the university operates on a budget model that from year to year, it basically just bases off of what are we missing and then just tries and adds it in. So it's not a very dynamic budget model, and I think that's part of the reason why the university's financial woes are as extreme as they are, because of mis-budgeting on that end. So we're trying to find a more dynamic model which we can look prospectively at what we need in the future as opposed to just throwing money where it needs to be at the end of the year to make sure we can maintain our level of services. But again, this committee meets every week on Mondays at 1:30 in University Hall. It might be getting a little more spicy in the upcoming weeks. We're moving from a major allocation model to a more student credit hour based model, which allows just for funds to be directed more towards instruction as opposed to majors or colleges specifically. So there could be some significant changes there. If there's any interest, feel free to shoot me an email, and you're more than welcome to come. Any more questions about committees? All right, seeing none. So we are on birthdays. I don't believe we had any birthdays this week. So we celebrated Senator Anderson's birthday last week, but unfortunately I didn't realize she was going to be here. So we ate the pumpkin pie without you. So next week I'll bring some pumpkin pie. But after this, I'm actually going to go to Pizza Hut. Does anybody want pizza? I'll probably grab a pizza or two. And that'll be how we celebrate birthdays tonight. All right. So yeah, I don't believe I have anything in my other as well. Do I have any more questions from the body? Vice President Hanley.
Move for 10-minute recess.
The motion for 10-minute recess, moved by Vice President Hanley, seconded by Fulton. Unanimous consent was called. All right, we're good.
Oh, I will set it up. I need to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Whatever it's called. This is such terrible coffee. Oh my gosh.
You never do until
There was a,
What else? Abigail, I legit thought you were talking about that.
Oh my gosh.
I am that serious. So there's like, I didn't equate time mass with like sleep. It's like,
So is this the shorter half of those meetings?
What about me?
I already told you look here.
You know what?
I know I've been told to salt it.
So.
Chemistry baby.
Fair.
You just look so cute. That's all we can say. Also, it tastes terrible. The salt and see if it'll sweeten it. Yeah. The market. It tastes horrible.
Like, is it just straight up?
Well, I drink it.
I really like, I wanna load that in this whole, cappuccino latte.
I'm going to get some.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to judge, but.
Alright, sorry for doing this, but it'll just be in the box.
Ethan, how do you want my committee report to go?
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you, Sierra, and Noah.
How do you spell?
Really?
Dylan,
DYLANNOTTURN. All right, yeah, sorry about that. That can be stuff that happens after.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, like to taking the minutes.
You stressful.
Mm-hmm. Now you know how I feel in BNF.
Yeah.
That's why I don't talk in BNF.
Yeah. No, I get
Oh my
that.
god, you type a lot.
I missed so much.
Kind of incredible. No, you can't get it all, but like the more you can get, the better, for sure.
Yeah, I only did the motions in BNF.
Oh yeah, that's so bad. Because then you look back and like, I don't know why people disagreed about this. I get so mad when minutes are not good.
You should see the travel allocations I did. I would only do motions and nothing.
I remember looking over your shoulder. I get so mad.
I don't know. I'm trying to get most of it, but
Oh wait, we have the camera?
Because I
Oh,
went
it's right there. Oh,
Yeah.
so
Oh, by the
thought we
way,
didn't have one.
no, it's just
I just hit it.
off to the side.
it's actually okay.
Can it hear?
Well, the microphones, maybe not. The microphones look like they're off.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to do. I can
Okay, so let me. I just gotta get this done real
You're
quick.
fine. Oh, you're fine. Sorry, I thought you were.
No. It's nothing is ever finished. Yeah. So all you have to do that should be good. All right, there's only one. All right, Zoe, I'm ready.
One that I can see it. So I didn't finish it until not. I can't eat that. I got most of it there, no longer feel me at all. And it just becomes like too much chocolate. Around and I would eat like 3 bites of it.
And for some reason,
Yeah, so it's gonna happen is Zoe
but she did show up on my
and then
It
go first or second. You go first, I'll shoot second. Go the first one. You'll go to white, shut it up, and then 0, go to white. This function, make sure it's right in front of it. This one, jump to paper, and then.
I use this one just talking about pronouns. That's why I want to use this one.
This isn't like full stuff, but all the sentences go with it.
I just got it in my report that.
It'll be a struggle for the second, and then when you continue that chapter.
I don't know what the rate of
with them. That'd be interesting.
similar or higher.
Well, I think talking about perception was particularly people, their perception also was not much of a sustainability. Right, oh God for that.
Did you ever Yeah, that's exactly it.
What's the professor?
He's great.
You'll either die or
He's just
don't worry about it.
I love how he like even all those academics in the beginning were so stubborn to like always thoughts in that place.
Yeah, I get it, Gregory.
You know?
That's kind of great.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So, I am working on robots for most of today, ripping up part of it. So with your like
And him jumping into his just feels bad.
And see, I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
Call me back to work.
Happy?
Yeah.
Why you look angry? Please take your seats. All right, now that I have your undivided attention, the so ends biz manager report.
And so begins committee reports. For any of those that want to get on my speaker list, please raise your placard. Just a reminder, it's only questions for ASUM committee reports and university committee reports, with the exception of 2 today. Fulton. Anyone else? Would anyone else like to get on my speakers list at this time? Cool. Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, I can take that from the very bottom for the board on member organizations committee report. Very bottom.
Very, very well.
There we go.
No, you got to keep going down.
I should
right there.
Move to provisionally recognize as a slate the following groups: Circus Club and Women's Rugby Better Side. Second.
All right. It's been seconded by Senator Pfeiffer, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Objection's been called, but no discussion. Seeing none, the motion has been approved. Pfeiffer seconded. Pfeiffer seconded. Cool. Next on my speakers list, I've got Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so I had 3 university committee meetings. So the first one was today with our subcommittee of Gen Ed. Currently we're working on our relevant review, and my subcommittee, we had our, we work on our cultural studies, and we've been working on those. Winter session, we had our first meeting. That was actually really good. We talked about either to keep the winter break at where it is or extend it. We also talked about how it can affect certain programs. What was the other one? I have a meeting with Kathy Cole tomorrow. I'm really excited. We're going to go get coffee at For the Planet. Yeah.
Senator Reed.
Met with writing committee. With that, we looked over AP and what AP classes fill when we come here, whether it's intro or intermediate. Also, we looked over how classes would be reviewed.
Cool. Senator Fulton.
Yeah, I just remember the other committee. It was CAM. Currently, we approved all of our questions, and we're going to start interviewing here within the next month, I believe. So I'm excited for that.
Cool. Senator Kiefer.
Sustainable Campus Committee met on Monday. We're talking about expanding the paper towel composting that's currently in the forestry building, which is really cool. And there's an SNL, Adriana Medina, who's working on a proposal for that right now, so that's really exciting. We had some further talks about the combined heat and power plant, which I still don't understand because it's very technical. But that is also moving forward with some of the bond money.
Sure. And before I recognize Senator Nelson, Secretary Shelver, can you please scroll to the constitutional ad hoc committee reports? Yeah. And then, yeah. Okay. Senator Nelson.
Hi all, so I had a fairly long committee report. I hope all of you read it, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. The thing that I want to talk about during Senate, don't want to do it like what we did last meeting, but rather to the makeup of the Senate. For about 2.5 weeks, the Constitution Ad-hoc Revision Committee was torn on what to do moving forward with the Senate, although there seemed to be some consensus about moving forward with proportional forms of representation. What we'll be discussing today are the 2 separate proposals, and I'll be allowing
the authors of each proposal to discuss, what they're envisioning for the future of the Senate. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing we really know is that both of them are going to be proportional in nature, and the decision that you all are kind of making today by like a straw poll is not binding, but we will be taking that feedback into consideration moving forward. Next week is our last week of committee meetings where we're going to be making adjustments to the makeup of the Senate. So I would like to do some robust discussion on what you all would like to see moving forward. If you like aspects of both, you can try to combine them. If you like language from both, you can kind of figure that out. But really, we just want to hear what you would like to consider based on the proposals that you put forward.
So currently I have Durnell, Anderson, and Johnson on my speakers list, but before I recognize Senator Durnell, Secretary Shaw, can you please scroll down to Noah Durnell's proposal and then try to fit it in the entire screen? Yeah, there you go. All right, so this is the first proposal. Oh, can you zoom in a little bit too? Maybe zoom out one. Okay, is that good for you all? You can turn around to read it too. But this was also included in the committee reports as sent out in the documents. So the way that this is going to work is that Senator Durnell and Anderson have gotten on my speakers list. They will give their authorships. There will be discussion. We'll take a straw poll at the end of this. So Senator Durnell.
Yeah, did you guys get my statistics I sent to you? Okay, sorry. That's okay. I outlined a little bit here because, hello everybody. So this is the language that I'm proposing to Article 7 of the Constitution. This proposal is a step towards a solution to a persistent lack of student engagement in ASUM, a lack of Senate representation and incentive over the last decade, and a lack of sustainable language in the ASUM Constitution. Currently, ASUM is reaching a very small population of the student body, averaging around 16.71% voter turnout. As the representative body of the student population, it's in ASUM's greatest interest to improve student engagement, especially when only a sixth of our student population is voting. The document isn't shown here, but I've looked over the last 11 years of election statistics and found a common trend in regards to students engaging in elections. On years that more senators ran, executive officers ran, competitive elections and ballot initiatives were high, students were more inclined to vote. I'd like to highlight the years 2011, 2014, 2012, and 2019. So 2011 was the year that set aside an increase from 20 to 26. This went into effect the following year, 2012. An increase in the Senate size then was conducted when the university was at peak enrollment, requiring more representation to reflect the changes in student population, and while senators were required to serve on 9 committees and act as senator-related on term student years. In 2014, 22 senators ran for 26 seats, 0 ballot initiatives were proposed, and the executive slate ran unopposed, yielding only an 8.67% voter turnout. In 2012, 25 senators ran for 20 seats, 4 ballot initiatives were proposed, and the executive slate ran a write-in campaign after violating campaign rules and won. And all of this yielded a 19.42% voter turnout, which is more than double the previous. Last year in the 2019 general election, there was only a 13.5% voter turnout, which is an extremely low number, but a percentage that would have been significantly lower than 12% if it weren't for Montgomery's heavy involvement to form the votes necessary just to pass their ballot initiative. In sifting through these years, the recurring pattern is that when elections had more at stake and were more competitive, student engagement in elections significantly increased. We can't control whether the elections for the executive slates are competitive, and we can't determine the number of ballot initiatives that will be proposed each year, but we can assist in determining how the number of Senate seats are directly affecting student engagement in elections. By making the Senate seat makeup a proportional-based system, the amount of Senate seats representing our current body would be initially lowered, subsequently requiring senators to campaign to secure a position, something senators have not been required to do since 2012. Campaigning in elections is a duty of senators when entering the governing body to represent all students on campus. The last decade of election turnout shows that students do care when there's something to care about. They deserve to hear from every senator running what they're going to do to the system in their own interest before voting. And in campaigning, ASUM is essentially marketing to the student body, gaining recognition and gaining additional student interest. Furthermore, since the change to include 26 senator seats in 2011, there's not been a single instance where more than 26 senators ran for office. This means that over the last 8 elections, senators have sought comfort in knowing that they will automatically be granted a spot on the body. The process does not ensure that our Senate makeup reflects the most productive body possible or the body that students want to represent. This amendment to Article 7 of the Constitution is also a way to ensure less need for constitutional referendum regarding representation in the future. By making the Senate seat makeup proportionally based, there's no longer a need for constitutional referendum in order to manipulate the number of Senate seats to reflect the ever-changing student population. Rather, the sustainable language will ebb and flow with the change of the student body. This amendment is addressing multiple issues that have been a concern for this body, including senator involvement, student engagement, and sustainable constitutional language. In my efforts on the Constitutional Ad Hoc Committee, I'm seeking multifaceted solutions to the connection between ASUM and the student body as a whole. This is not only a solution, but a beginning to a very new chapter of ASUM. I'd also like to add that there was some discussion about adding a +1 freshman seat in committee. There's a really good proposal, and the committee agreed on it by Senator Oswald. We decided to include a little more language after following up on some of this. So that's why there's no language in my proposal right now to add that seat, but it is in my best interest, and I'd like to hear more from Senator Oswald on that. I'd also like to yield to any questions.
Senator Anderson, you're on the show. Sorry about that. Scroll down. Back to Senator Anderson.
Have all of it, okay.
Is that good enough? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I am advocating also for a proportional number of student representatives. Initially, I was against that, but after looking at the census data for the past 10 years, it does fit what our university is doing. The only difference is that I would like to make it proportional to the number, like the number of seats proportional to the number of students in different categories. So I split them between Missoula College, which encompasses Missoula College, River Campus, West Campus, and Bitterroot College. The other group is the graduate and professional students, and I encompass the law students in those. For some reason, the census data, they are split off. And then undergraduate students. The reason I'm doing this is because the number of graduates and Missoula College students is actually, if you combine those two numbers, is actually greater than the number of undergraduate students on this campus. That's been a trend for the past 10 years, where we've seen those two groups increase and the undergraduates decrease. The reason I wanted to do it this way is to model off of what the law school actually does with the SBA elections. So if you, for example, are a first year law student, you get to vote for people within your class. So it requires us to campaign in our own constituency, like our own constituency, and then you represent them in SBA. I modeled it similar in this, where if you're an undergraduate student, you get to vote for the undergraduate candidates. They would have to campaign to those classes, and that's just undergraduate students who haven't been awarded your bachelor's degree yet. Same goes with the graduate students at Missoula College. The reason I did it this way is because I think we have an information problem at ASUM. I think that there are, especially for the graduate students, they have GPSA, and there's a lot of communication problems between them and us, and so they think that GPSA is their student government on the campus. And so this will try and help alleviate that by forcing the body to go out and expose themselves to the different groups, but also forcing people who want to be involved to campaign within the people that they represent. I worked with Haley Hansman on this. She is one of the GPSA core members. She's also a third-year law student who has helped solicit feedback from some of their graduate students. They would like to be more involved. They feel like this is just a body for undergraduates, and they don't really see one seat being worth it to come and fill if there's already one person there. So this is trying to encourage that. We've also had some proposals that they're pulling through GPSA to their senators and push them to become senators on our body, and kind of combine the two organizations, and allow GPSA to focus on networking as opposed to, trying to be the catch-all for everybody in this committee. The other thing that I did add in the voting is just the, yeah, okay, so it's down below. I did add Senator Akmal's language in there because I thought it was important, to see how I would fit it into my proposal, because I do think the freshmen are a class and this is kind of good for them. But I would be also interested in the any questions you have all.
Cool. This leads me into general discussion, and first on my speakers list, I got Senator Johnston.
First of all, I'd like to thank what the office is doing. And this is really nice. So first, I'd like to, I think I'm more in favor of Senator Janelle's proposal currently. I think that voting within your own, voting within your own group, I think potentially can be representing undergraduate students or grad students or middle college students, which is, I don't necessarily have a problem with, I think it's more of like, I represent the whole student body, whether it's middle college, grad student, and I think that potentially can lead to having students vote for what's best for their group, which I know that like, if there was a resolution that gave $5,000 scholarship to all Kyles, and of course I want that, but I'm not gonna advocate for that, so that's kind of one of my concerns, and then I think with the outreach to GPSA, I don't have any connection to GPSA, I've never interacted with them, so I don't know how that looks compared to ASUM, but I think there's a lot of things we can be doing to reach out to them. I don't know if this is necessarily how I would say the best way to do it. Like I said, I have very little interaction with them, so I would want to just put that side.
Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, a question for both authors. I'm just interested for an answer on this. If there were to be unprecedented growth from the spring semester to the new fall semester with this new sort of Senate, would there be any way to answer that with being able to get more senators on the body, or would we kind of just be stuck with like say a minimum of 20 if we had 10,000 students, or is there any way to handle unprecedented growth? I don't know who to direct this to. Or how
Just raise your placard to be recognized. You both can answer this question. Senator Durnell.
There's really not anything currently stated in the language because it is based off of the previous fall term. So if there was a significant increase for the next fall term, we wouldn't even be able to see that increase or that actual data until the year after. So that's why modeling it from the year before is what would be consistently used.
And then, would you like to go?
Yeah, so, it's really up for guidance based on how we do our budget. So, I thought it was the easiest way because ultimately, at least with mine, it would be on elections to calculate the number of seats that you'll run in elections effectively. And that is one extra for them in general. But then to add on, like, if you have a something surge of spring semester groups, I think that would just be a little bit chaotic given our policies and the way that our elections have to be handled and the time constraints that they have. So I don't know if that would be feasible for them.
I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just for clarification, when I say an unprecedented growth, I mean that we have a much larger freshman group than we would have originally anticipated coming into the fall semester of the next year, and then now we don't necessarily have a proportionate amount of senators representing, say, what should be like 26 senators. Instead, we have hypothetically speaking, 20. I was just wondering if there's anything we can do to change that, since such a thing would happen. Like, if we could propose a resolution to get more senators on if this was passed, or how that would work.
Senator Anderson.
Okay, so Senator Akmal will want to pitch the seat, the individual seat, so if she has a different idea, that'd be great. The way that I pitched it to her was having a special election at fall orientation. So if you do have an increase in the number of freshmen, then like 3 days on the first day, you just let them know, hey, we're ASUM, we represent student body, we have, seats on Senate for freshmen, it's proportional, so you guys get so many seats. And then they get to kind of intermingle and campaign in that 3 days, and then at the end of the orientation, they would vote for their elected. So that was my kind of proposal with my call. Senator Offline had a little bit of a different idea. So and she's not here to speak on it, but that was kind of my proposal for her idea, if that makes sense.
And then Nelson will allow you to answer that as well.
Yeah, one of the first things I want to know is regardless of whether you vote for.
Do you want this for general discussion or answering
I
the
want
question?
to answer this, yeah, so Ockmall's language is included in Article 4 as it stands right now. We've included the ability to include like different add-ons, special Senate seat. It hasn't been determined whether it's gonna be a special election or if it's filled by, I think that seat is guaranteed there right now as we have it, and it will be approved here if that's accepted. The other thing I want to note, like I think what you're getting at is one of the inherent issues that we see with elections. Elections going into the next year are never going to be fully representative of the next year's body because seniors have the ability to vote in the elections that occur for the next year. In that sense, some of the people that voted for us that we're sitting here right now are no longer on this campus. And I think the way that we on the committee tried to address that was by guaranteeing freshmen at least one seat, but there will always be the option for them to get appointed. As for proposing like a resolution to get them on, I don't think that would ever be a possibility because it could be a constitutional violation. But I think the committee would maybe be open to more concessions for freshmen if you come up with language or ideas for that.
President Belcher.
Yeah, so I have a lot to say about this. First of all, I'd like to echo a thank you to the authors. I'm so glad that y'all and the committee have put so much time into this. First of all, I just have a little bit of information. So actually in 2017, the senator election was competitive. In fact, so much so that for the last place seat, the 26th and 27th candidates got the same amount of votes and had to enter into a special election. And then beneath them, there were 2 to 3 other people who did not make it on. So I just don't want you to think that the whole time interest was that low. I really like the idea of proportional representation because I think that will be fairer to the students in a couple of ways. First of all, by forcing students to campaign, they will get a taste of what the time commitment of being on Senate is like. I think what happens now when it's much easier to get on Senate and you can just kind of show up, put your name on the ballot and waltz in, a lot of people don't understand what it's like and they get here, realize they don't like it and drop, and then we have to interview and appoint people, which is fine and allowed in our bylaws, but ultimately what that means is that we're getting a Senate that is increasingly represented by students that other students didn't have the opportunity to vote for. And so, although I don't think there's anything technically wrong with that, it would be nice if the people who were on the body the entire time were people who were originally elected. I think the reason that I prefer Senator Durnell's proposal is just because based on some of the things that happen at MSU, I have issues with taking representation from categories. So one issue that they run into is they do it by college, and so you get the best people from that category, which is, for example, so we could have, say, just for hypothetical, we have 50% graduate students, 50% undergraduate students, and there's 20, the 10 graduate students that were the best out of the graduate students may not be the top 10 best representatives of campus as a whole. There might be undergraduate students, Missoula college students that in qualification and platform outweigh those students, but then they are then given the seat based on what category they belong to. So that's just one issue I have with that. And I think we could all agree that ASMSU is less productive than ASUM. And I think the reason that happens is because people who are in a certain category of student are encouraged to join, but it's not the right fit for them. They're just automatically put on, or it's a very easy win for them to get that category. The next issue that I have is I'm hearing conflicting things from graduate students. I'm hearing on one hand that they want more representation, which is great, but then I hear on the other hand all the time that they are too busy to participate in ASUM when you offer them opportunities. And so I don't really think both of those things can necessarily be true. The other concern I have is that if the categories are this strict and broad, as we have graduate students drop throughout the semester, it will be hard to replace them with other graduate students, considering the rigorous coursework that they have to participate in and how much busier their schedules are than everyone else, according to them and what I've heard. So those are just a couple of concerns I have, but I think we're on the right track with a proportional representation by amount of students, and I think that will be really good for senator retention and senator representation.
Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so I'm actually in favor of Senator Darnell's proposal. The main reason why is if we go with Senator Alphonse's language, Senator Anderson's language when it comes to the freshman seat, they describe it as attending a four-year institution your first year. If it's a student like me who did go to a two-year institution and has served en masse and dealt with Florida regions and all that fun jazz, it gives that student a very
I would still be including something like that.
I still believe that would give like students like me a very like an edge up, like an advantage, because we would already have all that prior knowledge. But then again, we wouldn't be the ones representing the freshman class, because theoretically, when we transfer in here, credit wise, we're either a first or second semester junior, sometimes even a first semester senior. So we could be out of here within a year to half a year. So I really am not in support of putting that language in there due to the fact that students, even though I am a rare occasion, students like me could take full advantage of that, and that's not okay in my opinion. I feel like if students like me do end up coming to this university, they should have to run, and we shouldn't be including that language in there. But yeah.
Senator Anderson.
Okay, so I just want to clear up a couple things. So first, when I talk about freshmen, I'm not talking about people who transfer to other degrees, I'm talking about people who haven't received their bachelor. So you would still qualify. Because I think it's important for those groups to also be represented. Like, it's not just like 18-year-old kids, it's not just like first time things. People attending this university for the first time who haven't received their bachelor's degree yet. If you're a graduate student, obviously in that category. The other thing that I'd like to point out is I love that we all want to represent everybody on this campus, but the reality is my experience as a graduate student as a professional student was extremely different than what my undergraduate experience is. I have different issues. The graduate students have different issues. They have different needs on the campus. And so I think it would be remiss to say that we could, I can't represent an undergraduate student at this point because my experiences are different right now. Just like an undergraduate can't represent a graduate student or professional student in the best capacity right now because they're different needs and there are different issues. And so I would just highly encourage everyone to think about that too when we're talking about representational government. The other thing is that while I understand there's conflicting issues with graduate students, the incorporation of the GTSA senators and like if we can get that pulled off the ground, would help to stem that issue because those students want to be involved. They want to be heavily they want to figure out what's going on campus. And so I think that by putting that together and in the works, which is something Haley and I have been working on for 4 months at this point, trying to figure out how to do, would help stem that. And you also are still making people campaign. So you're not just like, I don't see the same issue happening as like you're just getting people picked. Like you're still forced to campaign, you're still forced to put yourself out there, you're still forced to explain why you're the best person for the job. And I think inevitably, no matter what proposal you choose, you're still gonna have the issue of people getting here and not realizing that they think, I don't wanna do this, or this isn't for me, I really don't have time, or something's changing. So I don't think that should be taken into account on one side or the other. I think that it's just an issue no matter what, so.
Senator Brennan.
I would just like to say that I am in support of Senator Darnell's portion of the thing. I think that having this sort of proportional representation, as he expressed, I think it's important. I think we should have people who, sorry, one second. The proportion system is necessary because it will always, regardless of the student population, represent the students directly, and opposed to having like a segmented proportional system where I don't see enough interest from certain segments of the school. And then what else did I have? Also, I think that having students campaign is a really great incentive for students to be like, wow, this is the time commitment that Senate is. And also it shows that students are more interested in Senate than just a resume builder.
I want to thank the authors for your work, but also bringing the data into context. I think that's really helpful to steer our conversations. One concern that I would have, I am really in favor of proportional representation. However, Missoula College, Bitterroot College, and West Campus, their enrollment numbers include dual enrollment students. For high school students, and do not pay the ASUM. So tabulating graduate students and Missoula College students making 50% of the population, I don't know, you might, yeah, that's something that I would be concerned about. And although I am in favor of proportional representation, I would argue that each of us from our respective study and experience all come here and represent our respective proportions as well as representing the entire student.
Senator Trell.
Once again, I'd like to thank both of the authors. Both of these proposals were very well thought out. I will say, if it came down to it, I'd vote for Senator Darnell's proposal, just because I think it makes the most sense. I think while Senator Anderson's is also very well thought out and very well intentioned, kind of like a previous senator said, it could kind of lead, in my opinion, to people kind of becoming more partisan, I guess, and kind of just digging into their position and not trying to represent the school as a whole. Also to kind of echo the president's concern, I don't know how it's going to work out when graduate students are constantly saying how much work they have. That's just a reality of their situation. And finally, I'm not in support of the freshman representation idea either way, regardless of whose language it is, especially the way Senator Anderson described it. You know, orientation and freshman year in general is a very transformative time, and I think the last thing I would have wanted to do during orientation would try to vote on who's going to represent me on the government body. And frankly, no offense to any freshmen, they're the new guys in town. They don't know anything about the school yet. But anyway, I will be voting for Senator Darnell's proposal.
Senator Flannery.
Question for Senator Darnell. During your authorship, you said that a lack of competition leads to no insurance for productivity. Could you speak more on this?
Yeah, so I think as just anywhere you're at when there's competitiveness or there's a sense of like achievement, your ability to perform goes up and also your sense of like self-worth goes up too. I think when we sit here, we kind of get comforted by just getting the spot. We don't actually campaign or reach out to different bodies on campus to discuss what we want to do for them. In doing that, in actually campaigning and discussing with them what we want to do, we have to make some sort of promise somewhere so then that we're going to be representing them. And then we're the face of it and fully accountable. Also, I'm so sorry that I don't have the sheet up, but it really does look pretty clear when you see the numbers, how that's impacted it, especially with the ballot initiatives and whatnot. But like I said too, you can't really control ballot initiatives with the executive, so you can control the number of seats.
Good follow-up.
Yep.
As it stands, I am in favor of Senator Anderson's proposal for the fact that, and I think this was a great point that was brought up, I am not a graduate student. I don't know what graduate students go through. And I think we can all sit here and say that we represent all of the student body, and we do. We work really hard to. But until we actually have undergraduate students, if that's something we want to pursue, and we actually see what they go through, we cannot represent them as well as a graduate student actually could. And it's for that reason alone that I'm in favor of Anderson's proposal. This is something I'm very at ends on, and I honestly probably stand to, I'm probably going to sway on this back and forth a little bit, but as it stands, Anderson's bill is the one that's persuaded me the most because I don't think that I know I can represent a graduate student as well as a graduate student could. I am a bit concerned about the language of putting the Missoula College River Campus and Missoula College, West Campus and River College, forgive me if I got that wrong, all under one proportion, and how that was sort of proportioned out. I'd like to see more change in that, but I'm still in favor of the Anderson's proposal, and I am in favor of a freshman seat. I need to see more language on that, just to understand how the seat's gonna work. But as a senator that came in as a freshman, I think that there's an inherent quality to getting senators at the beginning of their sort of term. That way you can actually foster a better community rather than getting senators at the at a later term. And I think that it's a great opportunity for freshmen to learn about their college campus as well.
Millennium Information Center, Anderson.
I used to say that, so that the university groups, the groups together, for their own, like, maybe like, so that's why.
Senator Johnson.
I just really that. But I agree with Senator Anderson. I don't know say stuff, but I you should. I don't really think that talking about how much time the grad student is putting in necessarily taking into account. Like, we're all fairly busy, like, we don't really know what anyone is going through. And like, yeah, maybe because average grad student is working harder than an undergrad, but at the same time, like, I think that's a pretty non-backed statement, and that's just my personal opinion. I think to kind of rebut a couple things. I can't represent a music student better than a music student. I can't represent somebody who is non-binary better than a non-binary student. I can't represent a grad student better than a grad student. That is simply I cannot do, because I have not gone through those processes, I have not stepped through those walls, I have not been in those classrooms. But that doesn't mean that I'm not trying. That doesn't mean I'm not trying to better myself and figure out what is affecting the students. So I think that there is I don't know, watch how I word this. There is an inherent laziness within a Senate that is not trying to better themselves. It is, I was guilty of this last semester, and I'm fully aware of it, is I got on Senate like, I'm gonna represent Greek life, and I'm gonna represent males in the business school, and I'm really gonna make it better, and I took a step back and said, I don't represent just those people. Like, I represent the people who are like, oh yeah, I take 7 credits, or like, I represent the person taking 26 credits and trying to get the heck out of here. Like, I represent everybody within that broad range, and like, I think that kind of has to be an account where that's why I don't necessarily agree with the dividing between colleges and groups and et cetera, et cetera. So I think it becomes too much of you're walking people in to represent that group of people. It isn't necessarily a problem in some aspects, but just think for ASUM, I don't necessarily agree with that.
President Belcher.
I would just like to point out that under the current way we do our elections and under Senator Brunel's model, there's nothing stopping 10 to 13 graduate students from going out and getting out the proportional vote from their respective constituencies. So if that's a priority for the grad school or graduate students, I feel like regardless, they could still go out and try to get their peers to vote for them or reach out to other populations and get elected.
Senator Brunel.
Yeah, I guess this is just some of the response to some of the prior communication. And hearing a lot about the other legislation is a little like, so if this happens, then this will work. My legislation is proposed in looking for a very definitive solution to the data that's coming to me that is also definitive. What I have yet to see is a continuous amount of graduate students looking to serve on the body. There were no grad students to, it's all about definitiveness for me, and that's why this legislation that I'm proposing is there as it is. I also care a lot about the communication problem between ASUM and like the grad students. I definitely think there's a communication problem. I don't agree that creating this proportion for Senate seats for grad students to be much larger, for the Missoula college seats to be much larger. Adding more seats is not what gets the communication problem fixed once we're there. What gets that communication problem fixed is fixing the communication problem. I think that's something that the marketing and outreach committee could take charge of. Serving on marketing and outreach committee now, I don't really be interested in doing that. And then going back to campaigning, you know, when you run for Senate, if there's competitiveness, if there's more, for instance, right now, more than 26 people running, then you have to campaign not only to your demographic, but to other people. So for me to campaign, I would very likely have to campaign to the graduate students who make up a huge portion of this campus. That's already a communication that we're reaching, with changing to a population base. And doing that also, you're reaching their interests and engaging them. As far as grad students campaigning, there is one seat reserved for them, there's one seat reserved for the college. But if there's more people who want to run, they definitely can. And when there's more than one person running, if there's only one in their spot, they're already going to be campaigning because it's so competitive. And by campaigning, they're probably both going to get in and represent. And that could happen for 5 grad students, that could happen for 19. Usual college is the same. So in my legislation, what I'd like to say is that it's not restricting more than one grad student or more than one dual college student to run or represent the body. It's just not reserving that huge amount of space for them that could potentially very likely go unfulfilled, which is the exact opposite of what anyone's doing almost. I also think that more open-ended language here is appropriate, as it's the Constitution also. And then as far as Senator Oswald's language, I do appreciate some of the agreement and disagreement about that. I'd like to see her speak a little more on it. And invite her to constitutional talk when we meet on Sunday to speak, maybe, if there's anyone who did have some concerns. But in general, she did have a really great proposal. And I could stand by it as well. That's it.
Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so again, I'm so supportive of Senator Darnell's. This is more of a question for both of the authors when it comes to Senator Oswald's language. So theoretically, I could be transferring into this university with 115 credits, three AAs, or like an AA, an AS, and an ASS, like several certificates, that would still be representing the freshman body.
Yeah, I understand the concern, but I don't see that as a disadvantage. I see it as possibly an advantage to the freshman body. The +1 freshman seat isn't just adding a freshman to the body, it's also adding the entire freshman body's engagement to ASUM. And if that engagement comes from someone who transferred in and has 4 years of schooling under their belt, and has served on Senate before and can operate more efficiently, then I don't see a big issue with that. Again, though, this might be something that's best taken up December.
I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not in support of keeping that language in there. I'm in support of reserving the freshman seat. I feel like that should be based off of student credit hours and nothing more than 30, because technically if you have more than 30 credits, you're no longer considered a freshman. I feel like it should be based on and I also feel like it should be based on the amount of time you spent in school. So I feel like that should be the language we should be using for the freshman line, but then again, Senator Oswald's not here to defend her language, and I would also be in support of her constitution on Sunday.
Hurley.
So I wanted to address my own concerns about freshman seat being reserved. While I do want to hear Senator Oswald's language, I do feel that an election for a freshman seat would be inefficient in any sense. So I'm open to having the freshman seat, and I think that would be better as a presidential appointment and through interviews and then added onto the Senate later, not an orientation election. But again, I'm open to hearing what Senator Oswald wants to say about this, and I'm open to hearing anybody else's ideas about this idea.
Torello.
Yeah, I would just like when going over these two proposals and freshman seat, all that jazz, is that we're never going to be able to represent every single student at the school, and no matter how hard we try, and we can waste all of our time trying to make sure we have the right proportional representation among grad students or this student or that student or business student. It's never going to happen. You're never going to completely represent everybody. So I would just like everybody to keep that in mind. Second, I've heard a lot of talk about, this is, that's for me. A lot of talk about, this is going to increase student participation stuff and decrease laziness. Let's not, try to constantly be reshaping the Senate and ASUM just based on the students' lack of participation. That we can only do so much to change that. If the students don't want to vote, they don't want to vote. So let's not constantly be changing the Constitution or the makeup of the Senate just to try and, fit that. That's all I'm saying.
President Belcher.
I guess one other thing that I'd like to add with having that many seats proportionally reserved for Missoula College, West Campus, and Bitterroot College is I have concerns about getting enough students who are able to attend university committees from that population, because a major duty of being an ASUM senator is being on this campus and attending university committees. Of course, if any student is able to and wants to, I think that's awesome, and by having no categories, they have the opportunity to do so, but I just worry about getting enough who are able to. And then the other thing I'd just like to comment on is the freshman seat. Overall, I think it's a good idea. I have mixed feelings about the orientation election just because I don't think they know each other well enough yet to do that. At least that was my experience as a freshman, but I think we're talking about a lot of different issues here. And I think when we do choose proposals, we should take the idea of the freshman part out of our choice because that's in both of them. And I think what we should do is ultimately how this should be structured after our straw poll, I think was a great idea for tonight, is we should vote on whether or not we want to have proportional representation at all, regardless of categories, if that's something we are in favor of doing, or if we want to keep the number at 26, because that's a topic in this that I feel either we're all just in agreement on and that's great, or hasn't gotten enough discussion. After that, we should talk about if there should be categories at all, and then we should talk about what those should be and discuss each type separately. So that would include the graduate seat, the Missoula College seat. Another idea just off the top of my head is instead of having a lumped one for Missoula College, we do Missoula College, West Campus, and Bitterroot. We do Missoula College seat and then have a West Campus and Bitterroot seat combined. So then we would only need to find one individual with transportation to access university committees, but that's just a thought that can be discussed later. And then of course add the freshman idea on after that.
Okay, so I'm going to cap my speakers list as this has been a 35-minute discussion already. For those of you that want to get on, please raise your placards. So I got Fulton, Nelson, and then I will allow the authors to have the final 2 words. So I'll put Jonelle and Anderson at the bottom. Flanagan, and my speakers list is capped.
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to the freshman seat. I know we aren't really taking this into consideration as both authors have it. However, I did want to say that I'm not in support of the freshman seat really in essence being a transfer seat for anybody that transfers in and it's their first time to UM. Rather, I would be in favor of seeing a separate seat specifically for transfer students and a seat for freshman students specifically reserved for freshman students. I am in favor of that being in elective during orientation. I think we're bringing up all this talk on how elections and competition in elections is very good, and I think that should be applied to the freshman seat as well. As it stands, I still am leaning towards Senator Anderson's proposal, just for the fact that I don't understand myself as an undergraduate student trying to represent a graduate student as well as a graduate student could, and I understand the rebuts coming towards me that multiple graduate students could still run if this were the case. However, it simply doesn't make as much sense to me to have graduate students campaigning to undergrad students and vice versa. And it just doesn't fit as well as I think that it should. To me, having a undergraduate student represent a graduate student is like having a senator from Wyoming represent Montana. We're all Americans and we're all a part of the same institution. However, it's just 2 separate entities and it doesn't make as much sense to me. And that's why I am in favor of Senator Anderson's proposal.
Just as a reminder to senators, please knock quieter so that the microphones can pick up on the sound. Senator Pfeiffer.
Yeah, so from this point of view, it seems like constitutional revision is a pretty rare occurrence. And here we have an opportunity to reach out to graduate students in a way that previous efforts haven't been able to manage. I'm worried about presumptions that graduate students have as much time as undergrads to operate within a competitive election. Putting in the same amount of time as effort between graduate student and undergraduate student seems a little listless to me. And even though Senator Anderson's proposal seems for voting, in the end, what it's trying to address is that we'd like to see more as representation from almost a third of the student population. That isn't always, it's to increase accessibility of the center to people who do not always have opportunities to join us. So please keep that in mind going forward.
Anderson?
Yeah, so I just have one note, and it's about.
Also just, this isn't your closing arguments, this is just your general stuff. So I just want to make you aware of that.
Okay, so, this is just like a general comment about the freshmen, because I understand there's a lot of debate, and happening, yay. But if we were to choose the doctor, I don't want to do the pilot limit thing. So for example, my husband's a vet, he transferred in as a freshman. Because of his military service, he had credits transfer in, but it was his first time on a college campus. So he's not the only one that's not unique. There's a lot of non-traditionals who may have some credits, like from an associate that they started, that are coming in because they didn't finish the degree and they're trying to be better, but they're still considered freshmen, and they still don't know anything about the campus, and they still need help, and they're still looking to improve. So to limit it to credits or however, like age or whatever we're gonna do, like, I don't think that is a good idea, because you're missing a huge chunk of the people that would be encompassed in that group. My goal isn't to make it so that they like for those people. I want them to engage. I think they're a valuable voice on campus. I think that this is an easy way to start getting everybody involved and getting them involved in their first time here. So when they have issues and they have things they want to change from that like early perspective, they can come and do that through this body. So that is the whole point of like the freshman thing. But I would just caution anyone to try and limit it in certain ways and put parameters on it. Yeah.
Senator Johnson.
Hey, so apologize right away. I'm about to be in that one. So, so I once again wondering about some things, talk about some things, and bring some. I think that I don't love the bringing more accessibility to grad students. I think that you're creating boxes and actually decreasing accessibility. There's having being open. I don't know. To me, accessibility is not the right word. I think if we had theoretically, I know we're on home for it, but theoretically, if 100 grad students run and one undergraduate student run, we could potentially fill the whole body from 6 grad students. And so, like, I don't necessarily feel that making the boxes where you're actually potentially limiting how many grad students can serve on the body. I think that's weird talk. I do like the proportional. I will address President Belcher's comment. I am in favor. I don't think anybody else is really talking about it. So I am in favor of it. I think that having competitive elections in a grand scheme is good. Like, to kind of double dip on my argument here, I posted exactly 2 Instagram stories the whole election, and I was 5th in total votes. That shouldn't happen. I should have not gotten a seat. Straight up. In any other election, I shouldn't have gotten a seat. So, and to piggyback off that, I think that if we are gonna do this, if we're gonna have it where we're not putting the boxes, it's hopefully gonna be more competitive than that, but as it stands, if we were to keep as is, you can have a grad student post 2 Instagram stories, theoretically, get a seat on the body and not do anything else. Really, it can happen very easily. So I would like to kind of keep that in mind when you're voting it's hard to be a grad student. I can't imagine how it is, and I really hope I don't have to. And I do think that just getting rid of the boxes is, making the boxes just seems kind of somewhat counterproductive. Because if hypothetically you have it where one grad student runs in an election, you're gonna have all of those boxes empty, right?
unless I'm missing something grand and overarching, you're gonna have empty seats, so please keep that in mind. Thanks.
Charlie?
Motion to end discussion.
So that's a previous
Previous
question. Okay. I only have 4 more speakers on my list, but all those in favor of any discussion, please signify by raising your placard. All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion fails. Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so coming from a two-year institution and basically going to other two-year institutions across the state, a lot of students that do go to those two-year institutions are double-dipping students, so students who are either juniors or seniors in high school, or you have students that are the single mom of 3 kids that is taking a class here and there, just so that way she can provide a better life for her kids. So the majority of those times, those two-year institutions aren't traditional students. So I really don't feel like we really shouldn't be looking at the categories, especially when it comes to Missouri College, Purdue College, and all that, due to the fact that there's probably a very much majority of those students there, especially because I don't believe they offer athletics to be a recruitment tool. Also, when it comes down to it, a lot of grad students that I talked to about this said that it's very much mixed, but a majority said they wouldn't be interested in it due to the fact that a lot of them have to work on their thesis work. And a lot of them have to do, a majority of them are TAs. They're too busy teaching their classes, grading their papers, doing their own research, and doing all of that. So I feel like we should just keep the body of where it's at. And then again, y'all know my opinion on the freshman seat, and yeah.
Nelson.
Okay, so first I want to thank everyone for your robust discussion on this topic. I really appreciate it. Some ideas that would definitely consider I want to talk about my reason for initially starting this ad hoc adventure and starting my adventure to understand the Constitution.
Senator Nelson, can you just speak up a little bit, please?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so my initial purpose for starting the Constitution ad hoc committee and trying to reform the Constitution was to address this issue of the Senate makeup. An idea that I was pushing for even last year was to make it proportionally representative. Based on the number of students, the cap I had also envisioned was 100-500. I did not originally envision the idea of parceling off based on constituencies. And when the idea was brought up to me this year, I still oppose. One note that I'd like to bring up that I've heard in discussion is that we've seen a lot of comparisons to different types of governmental bodies. We've seen comparisons to other student bodies as well as other national bodies. Other types of governmental bodies, I don't think that's necessarily appropriate in this instance. ASUM is a very unique body that was formulated to represent the needs of our student body and to represent kind of the different issues that we take up. And so as such, I think it should be considered independently some of the comparisons that we've seen. I do have concerns with the second proposal from Senator Anderson, primarily because I don't want to make a big change to our Constitution that's binding and find that we have basically a Senate that's made up of 10 seats. For me, that's not aiding our constitutional duty to represent the general welfare of students. One of the concerns that's been brought up in the Constitutional Ad Hoc Committee is that as it stands right now, we have a lot of duties as senators, and my concern is that if we parcel off constituencies and we can't fill them up, that leaves us with maybe 10 to 15 senators that now have to do the same amount of work. For me, that's incredibly concerning. We wouldn't be able to actively and effectively work for the general welfare of students. Further, until I see an active push by some of these different constituencies to be on this body, I'm unwilling to make this change. We have seats open right now, and I know there's an active outreach to both graduate students and Missouri College students to be both on this body permanently, to serve as SALs, to serve on search committees, and they've been unwilling to do so for a number of reasons, and I'm not going to comment on those because it's appropriate. But the fact of the matter is that for the most part, we haven't seen these students come out and sit on our body. And until I see that actively happening, I'm just not willing to support this proposal. As it stands right now, it's been said before, but these students can still come forward. If our makeup was to stay the same at 26 senators, or if it was to change to proportional representation, members from different constituencies can still come out in large numbers the reasons that we have reserved seats right now are for accessible reasons, as I've understood it. We've tried to make this body more accessible to students, based on the fact that for Missoula college students, it's hard to get over the main campus to campaign. And for graduate students, the reason that I've heard is that if graduate students are busy, so it's hard to campaign. That's why we have reserved seats as they stand right now, but that doesn't mean that more than one of those effective constituencies can't serve, and doesn't mean they can't serve under this new proposal proposed by Senator Denton. I think one solution that I would be maybe interested in addressing if we want to see more graduate students and we want to make this body more accessible is perhaps reserving more seats for graduate students. That way, if senators or if people run out of that constituency, they get put in for accessibility reasons. But we're not making such a drastic change to the Constitution that potentially could be fulfilled. I guess I'd like to end by saying that I'd like to see everyone that has ideas of constitutional ad hoc this Sunday before I expect it to be a long meeting. I know there's been some ideas to change not only the Senate makeup, but there's also been calls to address like board on members organization policy that maybe we hadn't addressed as a community to understand that they were further needs. So if you have ideas and you express ideas, I'd like to see that because our last meeting.
All right, Senator Jornell.
Well, first of all, thanks for engaging in discussion with me and asking questions. This has been something that's been in the works in constitutional ad hoc for quite a while now. I first went to the office manager just to engage my interest a little bit because I had some ideas of how I wanted to shape this article, but didn't have anything to back it. And after seeing a lot of the past election results, I knew that this was backed by very definitive reasoning. Especially just pointing again to 2011 when the president proposed a resolution to change the Senate body from 20 to 26. It was to reflect that the university was doing really well and a lot of students needed more representation. That's just simply not the case anymore. It hasn't been for the last few years and might not be for years to come. So in looking for a solution for that, I really wanted sustainable language in the Constitution. 1 to 500 senators in here isn't just lowering the number. It lowers it initially, like in the few coming years, it would be lower because of student enrollment. But in the years to follow, it fluctuates with whether senators are here or not. It was never my intention to serve on the committee in order to sanction off students for different constituencies. Frankly, I think that's very limiting and restricted to senators, even though it might initially seem like it's a little more brilliant of them. I would love to see a lot of people at constitutional ad hoc on Sunday, and we can address it.
Senator Anderson.
I don't have anything else to say in regards, and I've been talking with students for the past year about this. I know it was a big issue last year in the law school during that fight. It was one of the major complaints that a lot of law students had. They were complaints that summer. It's a complaint that GCSA has had when they tried to actually section off from ASUM in the past 10 years. It's been twice, but it was a committee. Because they feel like they're not getting represented, and so this is a way to try and solve two problems at once. I completely understand people don't like the boxes term, I don't completely like it either, but I don't think there's an easier way to do it. I think that if we go with not kind of pitching ourselves to those different groups, then we're going to continue to have an information problem where we, as a board of undergraduates, that only deal with undergraduate problems, that only deal with main campus problems, and that aren't effectively reaching out to the other groups, despite how well our marketing and outreach committee could do to fix that. So I think that this is kind of a catch-all, but
All right, and at the request of the Constitutional Ad Hoc Committee, we'll take a straw poll vote. If you don't want to vote, just don't vote. I won't ask for extensions since this is a straw poll vote. So raise your placard if you are in favor of Senator Durnell's proposal. All those in favor of Senator Anderson's proposal. So just by a straw poll, it was 12-2 in favor of Senator Durnell's. This straw poll vote is in no way binding in any way, shape, or form. This is just a poll. Senator Terrell.
We also took a straw poll on who's in favor of changing elections to proportional in the first place.
Sure, let's do that. We can do that. Again, I won't call for abstentions, but I do think that might be helpful. So all those in favor of changing it to a proportional system, that's either Senator Durnell, Senator Anderson, or something different based off proportion, please signify by raising your placard. All those opposed. Okay, so I only got 13 votes, and there are no votes, so it looks like there was probably like 6 abstentions, but just for your information. Any more committee reports? Any more committee reports? Last call for committee reports. All right, before we go into unfinished business, we're gonna take a 2-minute break so you all can grab some pizza.
2 minutes, I'll make it 3 minutes. I gotta pee.
Can we make it 10 minutes?
Just try to be back in a reasonable time, and I'll call it back to order. Thanks all for the lively discussion.
Yeah. This way, I'm gonna do this. It's like, why don't you talk about it, but in a little bit funny way? That relates to it. That's how it works.
I have a like emergency that I have to go to, but I'll give you the email you see what
I so disagree with this person, I disagree with them on this and this and this, this is why. It's like, but. But it's all those.
So you're like my idea.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't think so.
Okay, got it. I think figure out that spot. No, that's very shocking. Sure. No, I don't have an idea. To be honest, I don't want to do these. I think it's no matter what.
my dad used me. Oh God. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do this.
You're like, yeah. You pick up my phone right away and say yes, 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 yes.
Oh, yeah, so that's a good idea.
Yeah, I just do that. Let me grab it again.
I think there's, you should be able to look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Decide whether it's freshman, you know.
Yeah, no,
And that's
I really feel like you were an honest learner. I like looked over, all I just saw was like, I didn't want to, like, 6, after 3, I just playing.
I'm playing once, playing it twice, playing it sold! I kind of feel like it sometimes too. I'm like, yeah, then I go like, someone makes like a stupid amendment that everyone agrees on. It's like, move by Fulton, seconded by Flanagan. Years and years, been all the discussion. Oh yeah, I feel bad for secretary every time. I talk way too much. Also, like the way it's over the minutes, he's like right next to us. Oh my gosh, these are gonna be the most thorough minutes I've ever seen.
He said I got only done.
Oh.
All right, we'll be starting up in a little bit. Please take your seats. Yeah. Oh my.
Oh.
All right, we're on the resolution, so.
26.
Why is SBA 20, like SB 28?
So I thought SBA had already approved it, and they hadn't, so I had to pull it from the agenda and send it back to SBA. And it was initially included on the agenda, so that's the reason. Yeah, it's not.
This
on-
computer
on the
keeps taking
election.
off the draft watermarks.
So.
It's kind of
All right.
irritating.
I call this meeting back to order. We will now go into unfinished business. Just a touch note before we go into Senate Bill 26. As you see on the paper agendas, SB 28 is on there. That was kind of a mistake on my part. I was initially under the assumption that SBA had approved it, but they hadn't. So I pulled it from the agenda and sent it back to them. And then if they approve it, it'll go on either next week's Senate meeting or whenever they approve it after. So just ignore that one for now, as that did not go through SBA. We'll now start on Senate Bill 26. President Belcher.
Will we be renumbering the other resolutions to reflect that change?
That will be up to Secretary. So, but we'll get that answer. We'll get that answer later. Okay. So we'll now move into discussion on Senate Bill 26, resolution regarding sustainability fee referendum. Senator, which one of you would like your officer first? All right, Senator Johnson, go.
So, yeah, I don't know what I have to say about this. I think it's just an overall productive and good referendum. We as a body will not be voting to rectify this. We are just putting it on the ballot. That's all we're doing is to put it on the ballot, not actually approve it. So we have the student body approve it. So not going to do that. And yeah. I don't know why we have to have this fight on sustainability and sustainability not being funded for everything else. Sustainability, as proven in the poll, is really important to the students on campus. And so, if you represent students, then you probably represent
Nelson.
Okay, according to the 2010 University of Montana Climate Action Plan, quote, the University of Montana's Climate Action Plan outlines strategies for achieving carbon neutrality by 2020. Not all of the emission reduction strategies in the diverse portfolio identified are within the funding ability of the university. Overall success of the plan is dependent on obtaining external funding for a few strategies with large emission reduction potential. Even with this uncertainty, the campus community advocated for the aggressive carbon neutrality date of 2020 to spur deep cuts in emissions quickly. In 2019, we made marginal progress towards the goal of carbon neutrality on campus, unfortunately. In part, failures have been due to funding. In addition, there has been nominal support by key actors on campus to make substantial changes. The issue in funding can, in part, be attributed to no sources of dedicated funding for sustainability efforts on campus, aside from the ASUM sustainability fee. The ASUM sustainability fee is the only dedicated source of funding for sustainability efforts on this campus, and it's an opt-out fee. On average, between 29 and 33% of UM students opt out of the $6 fee, cutting nearly $40,000 out of the budget for sustainable efforts every year. Even so, the University of Montana has committed itself to sustainable efforts achieving carbon neutrality, developing LEED certified buildings, supporting renewable energy generation, supporting sustainable transportation, diverting waste, and building personally sustainable habits. As has been shown time and time again, sustainability is also a top priority for students. Looking most recently to the student survey on the bond money, sustainability was the second highest priority after improved instructional spaces. In 2017, UM students voted by referendum overwhelmingly to support making the sustainability fee mandatory, which was shot down before Regents' passage. The sustainability fee, beyond being a priority to students on campus, is a priority to incoming students. Now, perhaps more than ever, incoming students observe the climate crisis and look to progressive environments which are actively fighting for our future. Therefore, supporting the funding of sustainable efforts is also a recruitment and retention issue. The sustainability fee
funding sustainable efforts and placing UM in a better position to support sustainable campus development has a marginal impact on the cost of attendance. Sam Forstad, previous ASUM president, found that making the fee mandatory over the course of 4 years would have constituted a 0.0003% of an in-state student's cost of attendance and a total of 0.00002% of an out-of-state student's cost of attendance in 2016. Today, the impact of the sustainability fee would likely be smaller. Even so, this resolution does not make the fee mandatory. It puts that decision to the students. Right now, I am advocating for what I think students would want, but ultimately it is their decision during the general election. And if anything, we should give them a choice in determining whether this is as pressing of an issue as I have made it out to be, and as have students shown in the past during referenda and surveys.
Senator Fulton.
Can you scroll down, please?
Just let me know we're good. All right.
Move to add Emma Kiefer, Chair of Sustainability on this resolution.
Okay, so we'll wait for a second on that. So there's been a motion to add a signature line as well as Emma Kiefer, Chair of the Sustainability Board. Is that how you want to read it? Okay. We'll give a second consent to get that up on the screen.
To the,
Yes.
which one?
So you go, click on Chair of the Senate at the very end. Yeah, and then space down 3 lines or enter. And then, or space down another line, and then share, and then wait, I'm gonna keep it.
Are you?
And then Conway. And then, oh, you got a space on one. Yeah. And then enter. And then chair the sustainability board. There. And then we'll put the signature on there as well. Is that how you wanted to, point of information, Senator Kiefer?
Sustainability board, not sustainability.
Oh. All right. Sorry. Okay, I'll take a second now.
Second.
All right, seconded by Senator Pfeiffer. Unanimous consent has been called. Discussion was called by Senator Flanagan. Senator Fulton, your authorship.
Yeah, so with this resolution, I feel like we should be putting the chair of the sustainability board on there just to show that they should all, because they are in a sponsorship line as well, I feel like this should have been census sustainability, but that should be, I could be wrong.
Board Parliamentary Inquiry, Senator Nelson.
Why is the resolution RNA passed not here? Because it included both Emma Kiefer and Tyler Trevor in the second.
I'll take a 3-minute break.
I'm sorry, I know the answer to that question.
Yeah, no, you are right.
Yeah, because it wasn't.
Also, Dan, one of the notes that got passed to Ethan is actually for you, because I forgot to pass it over to you. It has your name very tinily written on it. You know what it is. It's in his note stack. It was before break, and I forgot.
She said she never got it, and so.
Well, no, not Emma. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so Emma never got the updated one, so we didn't look at that one. But I told them what the updates were, and they approved them.
That's
what happened there. Oh my god, I'm sorry.
All good.
It's in the basement.
Actually, this is where it is.
I sleep next to a window. My bed is a comish, so it's really cold and hard. It hurts my back. I'm an old woman.
That's what we're saying.
One of those.
So just do all of this here?
No, I have to.
Okay.
Like four of them.
Sorry, Mrs.
No,
Senior.
yeah, that's fine.
Next to the hot boxes because we have two.
Yeah.
But I saved from a woman whose name is Becky, we call him Trash Cat.
Everybody went to Sundays, that's.
Well, I wouldn't wear the suspenders.
I too will wear suspenders.
What's up? How you doing?
No one cares.
I heard.
Thank you.
Let the record reflect that Tina Brennan will be wearing suspenders next week.
And she'll be damn good.
Was there any others?
There were semicolons added after like names at the top.
I
and a
agree,
keyword,
and I will also
and then
wear
typographer. I think that was it for this one. The sonnet one was like.
My pants, my choice.
Emma never said she never got it. So
Yeah,
when
no,
she sent it over to you.
I know.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah.
So there's that.
Otherwise, yeah.
That's fine. Okay, I'm gonna. Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
No, you're
Sorry, I
fine.
should ask you earlier.
Yeah, I should have.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna be back in a second. So that amendment was adopted in committee, and I'm gonna move it back to the main speakers list and erase the. What? All right, we'll be starting up in a second. Okay. All right, I'll call this meeting back to order. So, yeah, this was not the correct version of the resolution that was approved by Relations of Affairs. As that and another amendment have been made, so Senator Fulton. Okay, and then who was the seconder on that one?
Pfeiffer.
Okay. All right, you withdraw suit. All right, so that brings me back to my main speakers list. And just so you're all aware, sustainability approved the resolution. So that is an accurate reflection. Senator Trowell.
Okay, first before I give my little soapbox, I do understand that ASUM or the Senate is not enacting this policy, we're just putting it on a referendum. I would like to make it clear that I understand that, but nonetheless, I'm gonna go through a lot of stuff. So we were just told in public comment, I believe, that 30% of the students opt out of the sustainability fee. And while that's not a majority, it's still a number to take notice of and not just cast aside. What is a small number is our voter turnout, which is 13%. So that means on this referenda, if we're taking last year's numbers into consideration, 13% of the student population would basically get to have the chance to turn over 30% of the students' choice to opt out of the fee.
All right, Senator Trowell, I have an interruptible motion, but I'll let you continue after this. Point of information, Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so out of that 30%, which also taking into consideration students who get grants and disability
Okay, so
grants.
that is not a point of information, that's an argument being
No,
made.
it gets through.
No, that does not get to it. That is not a point of information. If you would like to make an argument, go on the speakers list, please. Senator Trowell, you're recognized.
So anyway, like as I was saying, we just voted in support of a grant program to where we hand out money to people, if they break their laptop, break their glasses, whatnot. Why not just, I don't see why we don't just keep the money in students' pockets to begin with, instead of, once again, raising fees and making fees mandatory. $6 may not seem like a lot to us with our Apple Watches and our Starbucks and our North Face jackets. But it does add up, and it could be a lot of money for students in particular situations. If people want to be sustainable, let them opt into the fee. And if they don't, want to enter in that fee, let them have that choice too. And finally, don't turn this into a moral argument. People who don't support this aren't against, the environment. We don't hate the trees. We'd all love to be the Lorax, but we can't. So don't turn it into one of those.
Senator Powell.
So I am against making this fee mandatory just based on principle for me, and so I just don't know where it would end, I guess, is kind of my argument against it. So just because we see something as good, necessarily why we should then continue making that kind of thing mandatory. Because, 10 years down the road, something else could come up next year something could come up. And then it adds on top of it. And so I guess I just don't see leaving it opt out. It's not like it's opt in. Where if it was opt in, it would be an extremely lower percentage of students because people wouldn't opt in to it. But it's opt out, and so giving the students the option is something that I just really firmly believe in based on principle. So that's why I will be voting no.
Flanagan.
Yeah, I am in favor of this resolution because I think that it is going to help our university. One of the main points that I haven't seen brought up in this discussion yet that was brought up in public comment is that sustainability is a recruitment tool for our university. So by actually having a mandatory sustainability fee, we could see a positive change for our university and that we will have the opportunity to recruit more students with our commitment to sustainability. And by having more students come to campus, we can actually be benefiting the entire student body with a higher, with more revenue from tuition and otherwise. And in that way, we can start lowering. In that way, we can start lowering other costs by having more students come, so that the certain costs are more dispersed, and that's why we can see a positive change with this resolution if it were to be voted yes in the referendum. Moreover, the referendum is a point that should not be looked over. If the majority of students want this, the majority of students want this, we have to respect that. And if the majority of students don't want this, then it's not going to happen. And that's the fact of the matter. And lastly, I do think that there is something to be said about the morality of sustainability, but I won't get into it out of respect for this Senate.
Johnson.
Yeah, first off, I'd like to thank the opposition to this resolution. It's really hard, especially when you feel like you're put into a box. It can be really hard in that situation. It really sucks. I apologize if I am feelings of like negativity or direction. I'm really not. I don't necessarily agree with the argument of voter turnout first election. I think that there's two kind of different variations you can do in a lot of. One is you're either paying the school money or you are getting your grants, etc. You really have to do that to go to school here. And the election is very, very optional as well as their turnout. Some other points to kind of rebut. The $6, it is a thing that just can add on and add on and add on. I understand it. It is one of those things where $6 to me maybe isn't a lot, but like if I got $8 in my wallet, $6 is 75% of that. So I do understand the argument, and it's a very valid argument. I think the biggest look at it and the biggest positive for me is the positive output it's going to have for all students on campus. When I think of what sustainable practices can happen with this extra amount of money, whether it's a couple $1,000 or if we get a huge increase in enrollment, it's 10, 15, 20,000, et cetera, is you can see the change happening. Like for example, the electric bike delivery, that is something that you can see on campus every single day. You can see the bike rack out that way every single day you see like there's little things you can see where that money is going to. Those are positive impacts. Furthermore, like I don't care about your political beliefs, frankly, I don't think they should be involved in any of them, but just the benefit, like the financial benefit of being sustainable versus not being sustainable, like there is countless studies where small impacts of changing the lights to LED, that is a financial benefit for the school. And like you talk about the financial responsibility, students paying for things like university, and I understand that argument, but like that is the reality of it right now. And that could be a whole other argument. But I think it is, in my mind, I don't necessarily see a lot of negative impacts with this resolution. But once again, I'd like to end with thank you for any opposition that comes out. I really do appreciate it. It's well, just thank you.
Darrell.
Yep.
Nelson.
I wanted to touch a little bit on the percentage of students that opt out. I reached out to Brian Kearns, who has conducted really in-depth studies about like the nuances of opting out in the past and with specific reference to the sustainability fees, since it's one of the only opt-out fees on campus. And I think one of the things that was interesting from that study to know is that for the most part, it's seniors that opt out of the fee, like very regularly the majority are seniors. And I can get that data to anyone that might like to see it, because I think it is kind of interesting. But for the most part, I think looking at that opt-out community, that it mostly is seniors, it's usually those that kind of know how to game the system a little bit and know where to find cost savings, not necessarily there against sustainability. I want to also address the idea of voter turnout being low. If this referendum, or if this item is passed forward to elections, it's something that I've been thinking a lot about since last year when I made my campaign, is how to market this issue to increase voter turnout. I've worked extensively with Maddie Jones, members of the sustainability committee, and with other actors on campus to try to figure out how we would market this to the student body in order to engage students and get higher voter turnout so that it wasn't just like 19% of students voting on making this a mandatory fee, that it was a little bit more legitimized, if you will. And I think I'd be more than happy to go more in depth on some of my efforts, my personal efforts and ideas for how to market this issue. In addition, I understand that for some people the $6 is kind of a sticking point, and for some people it might be. But the fact of the matter is that we pay fees to go to university for services that we get out of them. And as I've shown, it's a very, 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 very tiny percentage of the cost of attendance at the university. In addition to the $6, I really think that what you're paying in, you can get out in terms of cost savings on campus. Again, this is the only dedicated source of funding for sustainability efforts on this campus. And if utilized properly, there are ways in which students can save money. I think we can see that now with covered bike parking as one instance. With covered bike parking that incentivizes students to utilize their bikes versus using cars, which saves on gas money, insurance potentially, maintenance, things like that. I think in the future, if we have more money going into sustainability, we can see future cost saving goals in terms of like green energy development and green billing practices. I think one hypothetical that I'm thinking of in my head is like looking into the future. If we have more money for sustainability efforts, perhaps we redo a dorm, which makes the cost of operating a dorm less, which thereby decreases the cost of living in dorms. So really it's saving students money in the long term, even in the short term. Additionally, I think we have a duty to advocate for this fee as a part of shared governance. The University of Montana has committed itself to sustainability efforts, and I think we're one of the only bodies that's making substantial progress on that part of one of our commitments. And I think that we have a duty to advocate for that commitment and try to, hold strong to that commitment, and securing funding is one of the primary ways. Additionally, addressing the idea that where do the mandatory fees end? I'm going to say they end right here because this is the only ASUM fee that isn't mandatory. I'm not going to make this mandatory because there's nowhere to make mandatory, but in terms of the larger principle of increasing costs of fees and things like that, I think if there's an argument to be made for saving students money or expanding services, on principle, I think it's the only thing we can do to positively impact the welfare of students.
Bolton.
Yeah, so off of that 30% of students who do opt out, we should also take into consideration of students who receive grants from the state and also their home states. For example, I get Montana Vocational Rehabilitation, and by state law, I have to opt out of sustainability and Montford due to the fact that my grant refuses to cover that. And if that becomes many, that might be why Board of Regents might not want that. Like we put on there is because there's already a program in place for students who need that money, and if like the benefits, that might be why they make it opt-outable and not for it being mandatory, due to the fact that a lot of programs in place require students to opt out.
President Belcher.
Yeah, I just like to point out that this referendum has absolutely nothing to do with the emergency grant program. No one, and I mean, no one on this campus wants to fund that with a fee or tuition dollar or any dollar out of a student's pocket. We are only looking at grants that will be written by faculty and donor support. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there.
Anderson. Sure. Wellness.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that as a student who does not own an Apple Watch, as a student that does not own a North Face jacket, and as a student that digs through trash in order to get their gas, which is still going on, I I understand completely where some senators might be coming from. However, it should be up to the students to decide whether or not the fee is going to be mandatory. And by voting down this resolution, you are depriving those students of that vote, and you are forcing your own opinions of that students.
Parsons.
So I do like the historical context of this fee. This is something the ASUM has supported in the past, that they put on the ballot, that the student body has voted to advance. Board of Regents has knocked it down 2 times. I would say that if we are going to have this fee increase, that we should be looking at things we can use with this money, something big, something that is severely lacking on campus, to try and make it so our university is more in compliance with its promise to be carbon neutral by 2020, try and actually make it geared towards something. And I would hope that when we do put this as a ballot language, that we have more succinct proposals in place to show Board of Regents what we want this money for.
Terrell.
Yeah, so just to go back over some things and about some things. So I think, and the senator who brought this up could maybe answer better. I think when the point of where do the mandatory fees end, we understand that there aren't, after this one, there wouldn't be any more that aren't mandatory. I think the question was more of, we could just keep on creating more fees that we make mandatory. So I think that's what that senator was talking about, but again, they can speak for themselves. As for, you put in money and then you might be actually helping reduce costs because of more sustainable options. This isn't, hey, President Bomber, could you go down to Ace Hardware and grab some light bulbs? This is something that would take years, take a while at least to be put into effect. And students who will pay into the sustainability might not actually reap the benefit, the financial or economic benefits that you're talking about. So again, it's not a great selling point for me at least. As far as this being a recruiting tactic, I have a hard time believing that this was, somebody's, a majority of the students' one major concern was, oh, should I go to the University of Montana if they do or don't have sustainability? I'm sure there's a lot more behind the decision of where you go to college than whether or not a fee is mandatory. And finally, when I brought up the thing with the grant program, I understand that we're not taking money out of fees to fund that or anything. I understand that this wouldn't be funding that. What I am saying is that we're constantly trying to find ways to give students money. And what I think it would be better to just let them keep their money in the first place rather than taking it and then saying, oh, you don't have money, let's give you some. Well, we could have just let them keep it in the first place.
Sustainability portfolio is an incredibly important component to our student recruitment, and it's an incredibly important issue to students. I hear over and over and over again how much we want to improve sustainability. It's part of UM's ethos. Majority of students don't opt out of it. Nearly 70% of students, I would say, are in favor of that. And there are financial benefits. Our capital improvements package is spending $15 million on energy improvements. That has financial benefits. And I would say, Ronald Reagan said that in order to be a conservative, you have to conserve the environment.
Johnson.
So, couple things. Love that my resolution, Senator Nelson and I's resolution is bringing up this foot traffic. I really thought this would be done in best talk, but that's fine. To kind of touch on some things, I agree that maybe sustainability isn't the most important thing for students to look at. It is for some students that they do look at, like, regardless of how personal things go. And one of the people that, sustainability is when I was freshman, that was not for me at that. Very, very young, that stuff is really bad about that. That's how it was. But there are students that that is maybe one of the things they really look for. What sustainable practices is in your school? What sustainable practices, this cooking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it is only a positive thing for students rather than negative. If it is a recruiting board, personally, I don't think you're going to see a student in school and say, oh, the sustainability is mandatory, I'm definitely not going there. And maybe there is, and I could be wrong, I'm wrong a lot. Kind of to touch on some other things, but I was the one that brought up the financial argument and reaping the benefits, and maybe I should have got a little more clear about it, is if the university saves money, we all benefit. Like, really, like, if you think about it, if the university is spending less on heating the heating plant, which, you know, if we put in more energy efficient, more effectively done, saves some money. If we put in LED lights, like, you may not necessarily reap those benefits now, but, you know, as a alumni, you make those benefits. So your student, your son, your child here, they can make those benefits. And I think there is ways that if you search out the sustainable practices, there is a lot of ways that you can save money. Like riding the bus, I know that that is not necessarily like in regards of sustainability, but that is a sustainable practice of public commuting, and that can save you hundreds of dollars a year. There is maybe not a lot of inherent savings right away up front for this, but if you kind of dig a little bit deeper, there is a lot of positive financial, emotional, moral, whatever it is, impacts that I think sending this resolution for the students to vote on is a positive. And I have a follow-up.
Yeah.
Previous question.
All right, previous question's been called. It's a 2/3 vote to end discussion on Senate Bill 26. All those in favor of ending discussion on Senate Bill 26, please signify by raising your placards. All those opposed? All of those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, I'm gonna call for another vote on this. We're gonna do this over again as a placard vote. All those in favor of voting for the previous question and ending discussion, please signify by raising your placards. And raise them high. All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes 12 to 5 to 3. Yeah. Motion passes 12 to 5 to 3.
Who's the second?
There's no second on this question. So we will now proceed to a roll call vote on Senate Bill 26. Resolution regarding sustainability fee referendum. Secretary Shelver, will you please take the roll call vote?
SB 26, right?
Yes.
Senator Hahn.
Aye.
Senator Hurley.
Yes.
Senator Jimmy.
Yes.
Senator Johnston.
Oh, yeah.
Senator Colon. Oh, excuse me. Senator Kiefer.
Yes.
Senator Nelson.
Yes.
Senator Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Senator Powell.
No.
Senator Reen.
No.
Senator Tarallo.
No.
Senator Thompson.
Yes.
Senator Wilmus.
Yes.
Senator Anderson.
Yeah.
Senator Brennan.
Yep.
Senator Borgasani.
Yes.
Senator Janelle.
Yes.
Senator Flanagan.
Yes.
Senator Fulton.
Yes.
Business Manager Parsons.
Yep.
Vice President Hanley.
I don't vote, it's just President Welcher.
President Welcher.
Yes.
All right. The motion passes 17 to 3.
All right, Senate Bill 26 passes 17 to 3. Next, in unfinished business, Senate Bill 27, resolution amending the ASUM fiscal policy to reflect gender neutral pronouns. I will give the secretary a moment to pull that one up on the screen, and then I will give either Senator Hurley or Senator Janelle their authorship. Which one of you would like to go first? Senator Janelle.
Yeah, so this resolution is to reflect gender neutral pronouns in the fiscal policy, just like we previously passed for personnel policy in the bylaws. For me, this is not an optional way to go about inclusivity. It's not just a word, it's an actual stance that ASUM should be taking. ASUM is voting yes consistently on these resolutions. That's in order to advocate for all students on campus. And for those voting no, it means that as a senator, you're choosing not to represent some individuals, or rather excluding them, which is absolutely against the core values of the Senate, and it's introducing a very sick moral onto this body. It doesn't mean
that ASUM is excluding these students as a whole and use that as an individual sentiment to address. I urge everyone to vote this in unanimously tonight. Haven't had that for the last two, but it's pretty clear that this is something that ASUM wants collectively signed and vote.
So we've already seen two bills exactly like this. The Senate has passed it almost unanimously. And I believe that it is important to present a united front. And if we are not presenting a united front, it is important that we express why. It is important to show that that ASUM has thoughts and feelings within itself. And it's important to hear all voices about a resolution such as this. It is important to have a united front, and it is important to know if we are not presenting that. Students have the right to know. This is a way to include students. This is a simple way to do it, and it doesn't harm people by putting it there. I believe this needs to be passed unanimously, and I would like to see that happen tonight.
Flanagan,
Sorry, what?
you're next on my speakers list.
Okay, just making sure. I am in favor of this resolution, and I do think it should be passed unanimously for the sole fact that diversity is one of our core values. And I think to not pass it unanimously would be a violation of those core values. And I think that if anyone has some concerns, they should get on the speakers list and voice them. And I think doing otherwise would be very apathetic.
Charlie.
Yeah, voting no for this bill doesn't mean you hate a certain group of students, or you're choosing to ignore them. It's called having a difference of opinion. Diversity is one of our core values, but there's one diversity that no one ever talks about, and it's diversity of thought.
Willis.
Yeah, so I voted yes before, I'll vote yes again on this, but I did have a question in my mind, so I may have a follow-up for a question.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Would the offer yield to a question? I'm wondering, so in the English language, how many gender neutral pronouns do we have? And are they diverse enough to actually go through the language of our bylaws and whatnot to actually?
There, no, as of now, there's quite a bit of language that diversifies gender identity. The one that is very inclusive and the most inclusive is the they, them pronoun. That's why including that in here is the most inclusive. They, them pronouns are also the embodiment of the big wide spectrum of pronouns that are used, such as he and she, but there are more than that too. And some people strictly identify as they, them. This language isn't strictly identifying them in these governing documents. It's meant to help include everyone in this conversation.
Point of information, President Belcher.
Merriam-Webster classifies they, them as both a singular and plural.
Senator Johnson. First off, I thank both of the authors for doing this at the same time. Really great when you put in this language. I think it's quite beneficial for just about anybody. I do think it should be unanimous, but I don't want to pressure anybody into voting unanimous. I don't think that's okay to pressure people into voting unanimously. If people would like to vote Friday, that's great, but at the same time, I think it should just be really guess on and be able to move on to the next.
Nelson.
I move to swap the therefore clauses and add a period at the end of. So that the 19.7.3 is at the bottom, and 19.5 is the first one. And you have to change the furthers and like, I know.
Yeah, okay. Let's just take like a minute break to do this. All right.
You were in the committee. What are you doing? I was there too.
I don't know the period at the end of this one. Yeah, so I just want to switch. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Should have been done in committee. Is Anna Marie normally do this herself and just switch back and forth with multiple hands? She would usually. I don't know how she does it.
Do you not know the shift?
Dude. So does this end with a semicolon or period?
Let me see a period. And after the, yeah, it was Victorian. No, it's not my And then you have to adjust the spacing and take the further out exam down here.
I did.
I think you should bring that up.
How do you like quickly get?
Did you get my second?
I don't use computers. Handwriting, man.
Yeah.
And then I want these switched to.
No, I have enough.
Okay, you'll have to make a separate amendment for that.
For the entire year.
Okay, so this is good?
Anymore.
Okay, now what do you want?
I want
These two, where else? Was
these. I want just those switched in
I
order.
think.
Because it's like it's the same thing.
So you know it's gonna be equal. I'm actually gonna scrap this because we don't even have an ASUM law fund anymore. So we're on zero after I change it.
Oh my god.
I know, I feel bad, but like,
It's not
we don't
necessary
do it anymore.
I was wondering. I was like, I thought we didn't deal with this.
So like
But
this
for now,
wouldn't
it's a
even
stance.
do anything?
So I haven't scrapped it yet.
It's a
but
stance for now, but
It's a good stance, but
So
yeah.
we're the only place where it would change is a loan fund.
Yep.
yes.
But we haven't had a loan fund in 5 years, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a seconder on that at all or no?
We'll wait that one, yeah.
I think it was just. I said it was within the pages of it.
That's fine.
It should have been done in committee.
I'm just gonna have you restate. All right, we'll be convening in a second. All right, call this meeting back to order. Senator Nelson, can you please restate your motion to amend the resolution, just so we have it on the record?
Yes, okay, so I move to adjust the ordering of the sections as they read both therefore clauses in the third whereas clause, and also to add a period at the end of the resolution.
Okay, so there's been a motion to do all of that, and it's been seconded by Senator Fulton. Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, that amendment is adopted. Next on my speakers list, I got Senator Thompson.
Yeah, pretty brief. So I just say for peak efficiency's sake, I mean, this is peak efficiency what I'm seeing here as far as choice and everything goes. Also, I'd like to point out again that we're here to represent the student body and not our own individual clients, or anything like that. And I guess the fact of the matter is that there are people who would prefer this board choice around campus. I think a large majority would either be in favor of it, okay with it, or indifferent towards it. And that there are people who do not identify by a he, him, and that's just how it is, and that's the fact there.
Fulton.
Previous question.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I didn't know. Okay, so previous question has been called. It's a 2/3 vote to end discussion on this resolution. All those in favor of ending discussion on Senate Bill 27, please signify by raising your placards. And please raise them high. All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so the previous question passes 8 to 8.
Division of the Assembly.
Okay, we will take a roll call vote on previous question. Please vote, okay? You can abstain if you want, but this vote count is weird. So, Secretary Shelver, will you please take the roll call vote on the previous question?
Yeah.
Okay, before you do though, point of parliamentary inquiry, Senator Johnston.
What is a yes?
A yes signifies ending discussion on the resolution. A no means to continue discussion. Okay, now here you go.
1 second. All right. Senator Flanagan.
No.
Senator Fulton.
Yes.
Senator Hahn.
Yay.
Senator Hurley.
No.
Senator Jimmy.
Yes.
Senator Johnston.
No.
Senator Kiefer.
No.
Senator Nelson.
No.
Senator Pfeiffer. Senator Powell.
No.
Senator Ream.
No.
Senator Chirallo.
No.
Senator Thompson.
Yes.
Senator Wilmus.
Yes.
Senator Anderson.
No.
Senator Brennan.
Yeah, no.
Senator Borghesani.
No.
Senator Durnell. No?
No.
And the noes have it 13-5.
You have to take the business manager presence.
Oh, sorry. Business manager.
Yep.
President Belcher.
Yes.
So 13-7.
All right,
Noes
so
have it.
previous question
Sorry.
fails 7-13. Next on my speakers list, Senator Chirallo.
Yeah, to, a no vote on this bill does represent a certain body of students, a certain group of students, student group which may not be as vocal but are still there, and to ignore that is being ignorant of the student population.
President Belcher.
Yeah, so I was hoping I wouldn't have to say this, which is why I wanted to end discussion, but I'm just going to be frank here. So the they, them pronoun includes people of all gender identities. In fact, before people know us, we are a they. I just gave this example this morning. When someone cuts you off in traffic and you don't know who they are, you don't say, he or she cut me off in traffic. You talk about that person in the they, them pronoun. And because we don't know the gender identity of all of our students, we don't know how many of them identify as men, women, or something else, they, them is not only the most representative option, it is the only representative option. And if you choose not to include they, them pronouns in the bylaws, you are choosing to exclude people of other identities, and representing the interests of students who feel that way is representing a student's interest to exclude their peers. I'm sorry, but that's not what we're here to do. And if that's something you're grappling with, that is a hard decision that we have to make as leaders, which students to represent, because frankly, they both can't have their way. But I will always choose the option that is the most inclusive and represents the most people.
Wayne.
I have heard no reason on why this resolution should not be passed, or not be passed unanimously. And I have heard no example of students that do not support this type of language. And as such, let's pass it unanimously.
Johnson.
Senator Shaw, will you deal with the question?
Yeah, sure.
So you mentioned a student group felons. I didn't say isolate, but I know that's not the word you use, so I apologize.
No, I know.
Could you maybe expand on who that student group is, just so I know, and personal?
I can't speak for everyone. Yeah.
I'm gonna rule naming any specific group in this type of conversation as dilatory as site.
I meant like, I guess.
Yeah, can you just restate your question, please?
Yeah, can you maybe expand on the certain students that would maybe be against this? Could you speak on that?
Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, again, in the effort of trying not to kind of name names, if you will.
Yeah.
There are certain students who don't believe in the reasoning given in the bill for changing the wording in the ASUM bylaws and fiscal policy and such. I'll let you figure out who those are.
Okay, thank you. And follow up?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with President Belcher that this to me just seems like the best fit all situation. I think that if it would have been made on this so often, I don't think we have that. I think this is a conversation and talking point. So I guess I really urge to vote yes on this, but I think everybody's made up their mind. So I highly encourage anybody who's next to do this question.
Fulton.
Yeah, so we've had people come to public comment who identify as they, them. Also, if you look around anywhere in the public nowadays, there's that have certain bathrooms for they, them. And if you go into school districts nowadays, you'll find certain spots for people who identify as they, them. And may I have a follow-up?
Yeah.
Previous question.
All right, well, you're the last one on the speakers list anyway, but we'll go to the next question. All those in favor of ending discussion on Senate Bill 27, please signify by raising your placards. All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, the previous question passes 18 to 0. That automatically moves us into a roll call vote on Senate Bill 27, resolution amending the ASUM fiscal policy to reflect gender neutral pronouns. Secretary Shelver, will you please take the roll call vote?
This is the real one now, right?
This is the real one.
Okay. Senator Torello,
No.
Senator Thompson,
Yes.
Senator Wilmes,
Yes.
Senator Anderson,
Yes.
Senator Brennan,
Oh, yeah.
Senator Borgasani,
No.
Senator Durnell,
Yes.
Senator Flanagan,
Yes.
Senator Fulton,
Yes.
Senator Hahn,
Yes.
Senator Hurley,
Yes.
Senator Jimmy,
Yes.
Senator Johnston,
Yes.
Senator Kiefer,
Yep.
Senator Nelson,
Yes.
Senator Pfeiffer,
Yes.
Senator Powell,
No.
Senator Ream,
No.
Business Manager Parsons,
Yeah.
President Belcher.
Yes.
Are we good? Okay. Resolution passes 16 to 4.
All right, resolution, or Senate Bill 27 passes 16 to 4. We pulled Senate Bill 28 out of unfinished business, and that's no longer on the agenda. That will remain as Senate Bill 28 because it was initially meant for a Senate meeting, but since it didn't go through SPA, it will not be seen today. That moves us to Senate Bill 29, resolution regarding support for migrating Sonneson's funding to IT services. We'll give the secretary a moment to pull that one up. And yeah, which one of you would like your authorships? Senator Nelson.
Wait, a couple of weeks ago, we saw an energizing presentation from Anthony Perry about the benefits and uses of Sonneson and other universally accessible educational tools. While much of the discussion was surrounded the students who utilize Sonneson and how to use Sonneson, Senator Johnson.
Can you please speak up and a little bit more clear?
Okay.
Sorry.
While much of the discussion surrounded the students who utilize Sonneson and how to use Sonneson, Senator Johnson and I were taken by the idea of making Sonneson a statewide accessible technology. Following up on this interest, we met with Timothy McHenry, Amy Capolicco at ESS, and Anna Margaret Goldman of the Monument. In further discussion, they noted that they needed support in moving the source of Sonneson funding. Right now, Sonneson, which is available to every student, is being funded entirely on the backs of DSS, Missoula College, as well as the student computer fee, which we need to make them up. This struck me as odd, as every student has access to the technology, not unlike the Microsoft Office suite or our beloved Box. A solution that was brought to our attention was to have Sonneson's funding source come from the IT fee. It was believed that this would be a relatively uncontroversial request at the university level, but Senator Johnston and I wanted to lend our support nonetheless. We felt that IT was the best place to house the funding and support of Sonneson. We believed it unfair to utilize the limited resources of DSS and Missoula College for a service that all students can use. We further felt that IT services would be the more appropriate place to house Sonneson, as it houses other university technologies.
Senator Johnson, your authorship.
So, Senator Nelson did a wonderful job. I don't know what else I have to say. We have a couple amendments coming up, but they're pretty, not small, but they did slightly change this, so, if you all give us a sec before we start tearing apart for it. I think this is a really good resolution, and I highly recommend. If any questions or any doubts about it, send some questions my way. I'll send you those.
President Belcher.
Wow. I see two senators who are really engaged in technology on campus. What a great topic to talk about at the IT Senate Committee.
Senator Johnston.
Do you want me to bring my?
Can you break them up reasonably into separate amendments? That would be,
Excellent.
that would
Okay.
work really well.
Yeah, so move to amend line item 35.
Yep. What's up?
All right.
To strike Kit, Eddington, Director of Information Technology Services, and the Senate Board of Health.
Okay, so there's been a motion to amend the resolution to strike Kit Eddington, Director of Information Technology Services. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Thompson.
Unanimous.
Oh, unanimous consent has been called. If you call unanimous, you gotta make it audible. And that's been called. Discussion or objection?
Discussion.
Discussion's been called by business manager Parsons. Senator Johnson, your officer.
Yeah, so we emailed Kit Editon and he was like, hey, I'm in charge of the grad, so I do not all of technology services, so you should reach out to Ms. Scott. And then he didn't seem super inclined to be on the second line, so I'm just trying to.
Parsons.
Yeah, Kit's my boy. We work together at the law school, so just wanted to know why you're jipping him.
Senator Nelson.
Yeah, he sent us an amended form of resolution, like specifically striking his name because he only works on the law school, and he said everything's got to be better.
All right, sweet. We will now take a placard vote. Does anyone else want to discuss this amendment? Any more discussion on this amendment? Sweet. So we'll now take a placard vote on whether to strike Kit Addington, Director of Information Technology Services, from the resolution. All those in favor, please signify by raising your placards. All those opposed? Abstentions? All right, amendment passes. I'll put you back on the speakers list, and there's no one on my speakers list, so Senator Johnson.
Sweet, okay. Move to amend 120.
Okay.
So it reads, whereas the continued funding of Johnson through USS and Jewett College will hamstring their respective budgets and so on.
And then, do you want the F in funding decapitalized?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Is that how you would like it to read?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second?
Unanimous.
Seconded by Senator Nelson, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any objection or discussion? Objection or discussion? Objection or discussion? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. My speakers list is empty. Senator Johnson.
Sweet.
Okay.
Okay, move to amend line item 11. So it reads, funded primarily by disability services for students at Jewett College, with additional funding from the student computer fee.
Student computer fee or student computer fee committee?
I'm gonna leave it with fee.
Okay. And that's how you want it to read?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Senator Fulton. Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, that amendment is adopted with second by Fulton. Any more discussion? My speakers list is currently empty. President Belcher.
Did the authors yield to a question? Okay, am I just really unobservant? Or is there like a specific reason Paul last year was not included?
Yeah, I just didn't think to include him, but it would probably make sense considering he oversees finance and operations.
Would you like a follow-up, President Belcher?
Yeah. Follow-up. I move to amend line 38 to, I found something. To replace the period after Swagger with a comma, to replace the period after success with a semicolon.
So it's at the end of it.
And then
Semicolons.
Yep.
to add the word and then Paul Lassiter just, yep, like that, comma, Vice President of Operations and Finance. Period. Ooh, if anyone knows if it's an in or an and. It's an and.
So can you change this to the ampersand or an and?
No.
Yeah, is that how you like your amendment to read, President Belcher, with this ampersand replaced as an and?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kiefer.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, that amendment is adopted. My speakers list is empty. Would anyone like to get on at this time? Senator Hahn.
Motion to correct line 38 to spell administrative properly.
Okay. Is that how you like it to spell? All right, is there a second? Seconded by Senator Torello.
Yeah.
Discussion.
And discussion's been called by President Belcher. Senator Hahn, your authorship.
Yeah, that's how you spell administrative.
President Belcher.
I move to amend the amendment to include spelling committee correctly in line 37.
Okay. I'm gonna rule that against the intent of the amendment since this is pertaining to the word administrative and this is not for just is. Okay. Senator Johnson, we're on the amendment right now. That would be a previous question since we're in discussion right now. We are in discussion of the amendment. So in order to end discussion, you need a previous question and then a placard vote would be taken. Would you like to call a previous question? Okay, is there any more discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, we will now take a placard vote on whether to approve this amendment. All those in favor, please signify by raising your placards. Yay. All those opposed? All right, abstentions. Seeing none, that is adopted. My speaker's list is empty. President Belcher.
I move to amend line 37 to add an I in committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Kiefer, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. Moved by Belcher, seconded by Kiefer. President Belcher.
I move to amend line 38 to add another G to Sarah Slaughter's last name.
All right, there's been a motion to add another G to Sarah Slaughter's name in line 38. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wilmes. Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion's been called by Senator Nelson. President Belcher, your authorship.
I'm like 99% sure her name is spelled with two G's. Just looking at it with one G rubbed me the wrong way, and I was going off my instinct.
Point of information, Senator No.
It is one G, I just looked back.
Thank you. Withdraw.
All right, the amendment has been withdrawn. Yeah, who was the seconder?
Yeah, I said it was wrong.
Okay. Good to know. Any more discussion? Senator Hahn?
No, or yield.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion on this resolution?
Oh.
Senator Hahn.
Motion to amend line 37 to read Chief Information Officer.
All right, so there's been a motion to amend this resolution to change Renee Scott's title to Chief Information Officer. Is there a second?
Second. Unanimous.
Seconded by Senator Kiefer, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Last call for discussion or objection. Seeing none, the amendment is adopted. My main speaker's list is empty. Would anyone else like to get on it at this time? Any more discussion? Last call for discussion on Senate Bill 29. Seeing none, we will now move into a roll call vote on Senate Bill 29, resolution regarding support for migrating Sonneson's fundraising or funding to IT services. Secretary Shelver, will you please take the roll call vote?
Senator Johnston.
Yes.
Senator Kiefer.
Yes.
Senator Nelson.
Yes.
Senator Pfeiffer.
Yes.
Senator Powell.
Abstain.
Senator Ream.
Yes.
Senator Torello.
Yes.
Senator Thompson.
Yes.
Senator Wilmes.
Yes.
Senator Anderson.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yep.
Senator Borgasani.
Yes.
Senator Durnell.
Yes.
Senator Flanagan.
Yes.
Senator Fulton.
Yes.
Senator Hahn.
Yeah.
Senator Hurley.
Yep.
Senator Jimmy.
Yes.
Business Manager Parsons.
Yep.
President Belcher.
Yes.
Resolution passes 19-0 to 1.
All right, Senate Bill 29 passes 19-0 to 1. This now brings us to our last resolution of the night, which is Senate Bill 30. Do you have an interruptible motion for me, Senator Wilson? Yes, the business manager voted.
Don't keep tabs on me, come on.
Yes. Okay. Is there any more point of parliamentary inquiries? Okay. Sweet. This now moves us to Senate Bill 30, which is resolution amending the ASUM House rule to reflect gender neutral pronouns. Senator Durnell and Senator Hurley, which one of you would like your authorship first? I'm going to offer their authorships, and then take down a speaker list. Senator Durnell, now I'll take down a speaker list.
Yeah, I appreciate all the discussion on the last, resolution. And then furthering that discussion, if you think it's necessary, it's necessary. So I'm still looking for that unanimous stuff.
Early.
Hi, consent. We can try to vote unanimously this time. We had our discussion already. If it's necessary, it is. If it's not, we move on. Thank you.
Anderson.
Move to send back to committee. With
Okay.
non-urgent.
Okay, there's been a motion to send back to Relations and Affairs. Is there a second? Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's been a second. Senator Anderson, your authorship.
So, I understand the resolution says section 3, subsection B, impeachment removal, but if you look at the resolution, lines 31 and 32, talking about elections, so that is wrong, and I don't know if the amendment, the amendment to each column is fixed. So I would just like to send it back to committee so that can be adjusted and fixed.
Okay, I have no one on my speakers list. Senator Durnell.
It could probably just be fixed in the form of an amendment to fix the title of the section that is in.
Anderson.
The elections aren't in the House rules, so that's like the elections in the bylaws. So that's why I want to send it back to committee, why I don't think it can be amended via amendment on the floor.
Nelson.
And if you look at section 3, subsection B of the House rules, I'm not noticing any dichotomous language, so I think there's a mix up there. I don't know if that means striking the whole thing, and we can move forward from there, or like maybe the dichotomous language is solid, I don't know what it is, so.
My speakers list is empty. What anyone else? Durnell.
Yeah, I'd be interested in striking the language about section 3, subsection B. It could be from the bylaws. This was all a very collaborative effort with all the governing documents, so it's very possible that that just got included in the wrong document. I believe it was the one in the singular instance in the ASUM House rules, not both of those that can very well be in the bylaws. But I do not think this needs to be set back to committee. It can be fixed very quickly here.
Flanagan.
Yep.
My speakers list is currently empty for this motion. Would anyone else like to get on to speak at this time? Any more discussion? Last call on discussion to send this back to committee. Nelson. You do not have to ask senators to yield to your question.
What would you prefer to see done?
So I believe that that section is not there, and then there's only one instance of it, and that is the section we could strike it, and I think we don't need to send it back.
Anderson.
Okay, so
I got you down, Johnson.
there is another section in House rules that uses dichotomous language that they would like that, it's just a bigger section. So that's why I feel like we should go back to committee and we can see it next week when we fixed. It's a lot, and I don't want to give a break, like when the amendment, fix it.
Johnson.
Senator Ray, where is the under final house rule?
Yeah. The one instance, yeah, it's there. There's one.
Hurley.
I would like to withdraw my previous statement and agree to send it back to committee.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on this motion? Any more, Durnell?
Yeah, I'd also ask I'd also vote to send it back to committee.
All right, any more discussion on this motion? Last call for discussion. Seeing none, I'll take a placard vote on whether to send Senate Bill 30 back to Relations and Affairs. All those in favor of sending it back to committee, please signify by raising your placards. All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, the motion passes like 18 to 1 to 1. So Senate Bill 30 will now be sent back to Relations and Affairs. That ends unfinished business, and we'll now be moving into new business. I will take a speakers list down at this time for anyone who would like to get on my speakers list. Point of clarification, Senator Flanagan.
Forgive me if that's the wrong sign. If a senator is proposing a resolution and there is, and it's a co-authored resolution, do you need to state who the other author is, or how does that work?
So that is correct. You could also do a point of parliamentary inquiry. You don't have to state your co-author. And in fact, I'm not asking people to state their co-authors or sponsors when they introduce resolutions. All I'm just asking is the resolution. Go. President Belcher and Flanagan. Would anyone else like to get on my speaker list?
I moved
Wait. Okay, President Belcher.
I move to send one resolution, this is a mouthful, supporting the Diversity Advisory Council's recommendation to remove the tile containing the swastika-like symbols from the exterior of Corbin Hall and place it in the Maureen and Mike Mansfield Library archives.
Okay, can you please send that over to the secretary?
Yes,
And I'm assuming you would like it sent to RNA.
yes.
Okay, let's take a second for the secretary to type that down. All right, while he's doing that, go ahead and give your brief description of this bill.
Yeah, so it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It supports the recommendation that Adrian came and presented, or Adrian Donald, excuse me, presented to the Senate last week from the, Smith, I'm so sorry, from the Diversity Advisory Council concerning the tile on Corbin Hall.
Cool. So I'm just gonna wait for the secretary to type out the longest resolution title I've ever seen.
May I make a comment?
Yeah, if you'd like a further comment to describe the resolution.
The reason the title for the resolution is so long is because there's a lot of different things that are involved with this recommendation, and I wanted in the future the resolution to be easily searchable by people who are looking for information about either Diversity Advisory Council, the swastika-like symbol, and the archives.
Yep, one resolution to board on member organizations and RNA, amending board on member organization bylaws to address co-curricular student groups.
Okay, do you have that in like a sticky note or, yeah, if you could just walk that over to the secretary. Sorry. Yeah, also, if you're planning to propose a resolution and it's a title that has more than 6 words in it, you should write it on a sticky note or a piece of paper and send it over to the secretary.
Bylaws to address co-curricular student groups. And then it's board on member organizations. Or both.
And then Senator Flanagan, if you could give a brief description of the resolution.
Totally. I would recommend that the Senate refer to my committee report for more in-depth analysis on why I am offering this resolution up. But in short, we had governing documents turned in this past week into board member organizations, and we saw that a large enough number of heavily co-curricular student groups are actually being a bit restricted in their membership. And as such, board member organizations, I wanted to see, me and my co-author wanted to see language in board and member organization bylaws taking a stance on co-curricular student groups, heavily co-curricular student groups, and how those are addressed in terms of recognition.
Mr. Manager Parsons.
Yeah, so there is a bit in fiscal policy in which it outlines that we don't directly subsidize academic support. We had thought that in keeping with the vein of inclusivity of student groups to all students, so to all ASUM activity fee paying students, that it would be appropriate to not have a credit requirement to participate within a student group, because at that point I'm not sure it's a student group or a class. So I think it's just an important distinction to make, and one that we can do within the board on member bylaws.
Senator Anderson. Is there any more new business at this time? Business Manager Parsons.
So one resolution to Relations and Affairs. And this is a resolution adding the business manager to the music union and the sports union committees as an ex officio member.
And also, per that, I'm going to send it to Music Union, Sports Union, since it does affect their bylaws. So we'll go to 3 committees. And then if you could give a brief description about that straightforward resolution.
Yep, so budgeting season is coming up, and I just want to make sure to help groups know what the respective ASUM policy is and what appropriate asks are from ASUM. As an ex officio member, I don't have any voting power, just be more of a guiding sort of person there, just help fill out forms and answer any questions they may have.
Product Verification Center, Fulton.
Will that go to Rory or I or both?
So it'll go to Music Union as well and Sports Union.
So it'll go to the chair of the committee. Any more new business? Product Verification Center, Flanagan.
Why sports union?
Because it's affecting the sports union bylaws. And if it's affecting it, my discretion, it doesn't have to go there, but for my discretion as vice president, I am, any committee section bylaws that changes will be going to that committee this year. Any more new business?
So I have another.
Okay, one more resolution.
So this is a resolution amending section 9.14 of fiscal policy to strike that section.
Again, that will be going to BNF?
Yes.
And do you mean section 9.1.4?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you could give a brief description about that.
Yeah, so this is another weird part of board on budget, fiscal policy, in which the directive of fiscal policy states that all services and groups within ASUM are entitled to those paying the ASUM activity fee, and then section 9.14 says that ASUM will not discriminate against students not paying the fee. So it's a discrepancy within the policy. So it's just shoring up the language a bit.
All right, is there any more new business? Any more new business? Last call for new business. Seeing none, we'll now move into adjournment. I will entertain a motion to adjourn, and it's been moved by Senator Fulton, seconded by Senator Hurley.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, the meeting has been adjourned.
Who seconded that?
It was Hurley.
Yes. Comments.
Come on.
Love your scarf too. Wow, look that.